the next tweet here,
I'm gonna do it more.
the tweet that usually says "We are live," right?
Right.
And then,
Right.
are we live? Yes, we are. What's up, Giants fans, home watchers,
was
YouTube
great.
and Rumble subscribers, Kid Blue
That
watchers,
was
YouTube
great.
and Rumble subscribers,
Yeah,
along
Kid
with
Blue
watchers.
That was
Oh, along with the fans of Justin Penik and Talking Giants and everybody over there. Welcome in. How y'all doing? I see we already got about 3 people in the chat. It's Kayla, it's Namara, it's Micah. How y'all doing? KB, how are you doing? And then, of course, we'll get to the guest over here.
I'm chilling, man. Chilling. One more week, man. Exciting. One more week till the draft. And
Daniel Jones
exciting.
days away. I know you do
we
tweets
are
like
Daniel
that, Justin.
Yes.
I
Daniel
do.
Jones days
Well,
away.
today was not Daniel Jones. Today was Matt Hasselbeck.
Yeah. He
Matt
always does the
Hasselbeck was a
irrelevant
Giant
Giants.
at one Isn't Daniel Jones an irrelevant Giant? What? Am I
Whoa,
missing
hey
something?
now.
Whoa.
Hey now.
Whoa.
No,
Don't you disrespect.
Am I missing something? When did he become relevant? I'm kidding. Am I? I don't know. Am I kidding, Justin?
So what I'm
Relevant.
doing right now is I'm
Relevant.
looking up 7. Oh my god, there's like nobody.
Isn't 7 retired for the
7's
Giants?
retired. So you want to know what? Mel Hein.
Mel
Hein,
Yeah.
1931 to 1945. He is in the Hall of Fame. I believe the number is retired because of him. So tomorrow it will be Mel Hein days until the NFL draft. We
Okay.
just
You heard
decided
it here
that live
first on the Young Guns podcast.
Shout out to Mel Hein, man. And shout out to everybody in the chat. We got Cletus, Mike, Eagles. That's a name that I definitely stand by, but I don't think I could say it out loud. The Eagles name right there. Yeah, there you go. You could say it out loud, Justin. That's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have
What
your
are they
mom
gonna
in the
do?
room.
Fire me? What is John Boy mean? Gonna fire me?
Listen, I'm coming for that $500,000 salary that Bobby claims to
Yeah,
have.
man. Did
Whoa,
you?
whoa, hello.
There was a podcast. I didn't say it. It was my boss that said it. There was a podcast.
Who's your boss?
That he went on.
Mr. John Boy himself?
John Boy. Yeah, he went on a podcast and he said the company made $7 million in revenue last year. So
what?
Hey, it looks like I need to make a move up to the New York area here. Get your
Huh?
boy an application. Get
yeah,
your
man,
boy
come
an
on.
application.
That's a lot of money. Oh
we got
my
room.
God, that's a
we got
lot.
room.
That's a lot of money. Listen, I'm just.
You guys need a Florida department. Freaking Bobby's in Florida. Okay.
Yeah.
Bobby's in Florida.
We already got the Florida department covered. So.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm just waiting for the response, man. Mike Nixon in here, Levance, Denzio, Sean Torres, Mike B. I know you made it. He could not make it last night. That's all good, man. You work. First of all, I appreciate everybody that works. They come home and then they tune into any of my live streams. That's really, like, I know you guys are tired and you choose to listen to whatever in the world I gotta say or whatever in the world KB has to say. And it goes across the board. That's pretty cool to me, man.
That's insane because we don't know what we're talking about. So
yeah, like I gotta reiterate every single time. We're no experts in here. God, I never want to have the label of an expert slapped onto me in any way, shape, or form. That would be a nightmare.
Add me to that mix. You want to know
Like-
what? But you want to know what? 7 days until the greatest weekend. It'll be the greatest night, but really, like, it is the greatest weekend, you know, in the entire, really out of the entire year, where, you know, there's more optimism about everything because the Giants are going to get better, and no matter if you agree or disagree with who we're going to add, they're going to get better, which is exciting.
Yeah, I just want to correct Yvette's real quick. Oh, he says that he's my biggest fan. That's not what I'm correcting him on. I don't know if you guys know this song. He says, "Ooh, you call her Stephanie. I call her Heffany." It's not Heffany, it's Headfany, implying that, you know what I'm saying, the person he's talking about in the song, you know.
Emphasis on the ooh.
I don't know
okay?
about that. All right,
Emphasis
let's
on the
get to it, man. Shout out to No Quit. He's from South Florida. I'm guessing he heard KB mention Florida and whatnot. Says huge Giants fan. He's formerly of Monmouth County, New Jersey. There's a lot of, I don't know, is Monmouth County a big thing in New Jersey with Giants fans or something? Obviously, I'm not from NJ, so I don't know.
You got like Long Branch, and you know you got some short towns in there. So yeah, Monmouth County, Monmouth University. Shout out.
Yeah, didn't we have a guy from Monmouth a couple years ago on the Giants? Was he a wide receiver?
His name, what was his name?
Reggie White, right?
Reggie White Jr.
Reggie White
Yes.
Jr. Yeah. What happened to him?
He got cut.
Nice. Tough. All right, I'm not going to get into the draft stuff immediately because there's one thing I kind of sort of want to get out the way. Unless I completely missed any tweets about it from you, Justin. I don't think I've seen you talk about it on Twitter, at least. Minicamp absentee Mr. Kadarius Toney, the second-year player that a lot of Giants fans have certain feelings about. My feelings have always been very much the same, even from last year, because I'm seeing people bring up now the shoe incident. That's what it's being called. The shoe incident as something that was like legitimately his fault.
Shoegate,
I'm like,
cleat
bro,
Cleatgate.
Cleatgate. Cleatgate
Yeah,
has a nice ring to it.
Gate.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Cleatgate was the fault of whatever intern they had working as the equipment guy, man.
The equipment dude,
All
yeah.
right. But all of that aside, yeah, no, a lot of people don't like the fact that he's not there at the voluntary workouts. I believe Brian Daboll did had a couple things to say about it today. He was kind of I don't know if skirting around the topic would be the way I'd describe it, but he didn't give a straightforward answer, that's for sure. At one point it sounds like he wasn't necessarily defending Toney, but he was definitely putting a emphasis on the word voluntary. And then at another point he was like, "We do have good attendance though, and I have been talking to some guys that weren't
And
here."
he
So it's
doesn't
like,
have
what?
the playbook.
Yeah, it's like, what is he trying to imply here? But go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, so my stance has been the same as during the first round of the voluntary stuff, and I think the stance is the same, except maybe it's just a little bit more either you're it's not even just pro or against Tony.
Mhm.
It's the fact that it's April 20th, light up, April 20th, and we're having a conversation about football. And so of course things are going to be exaggerated, right? So here's the thing with Kadarius Toney not showing up to voluntary OTAs right now. That thing alone in it like is not the biggest deal, like in a vacuum, right? But it's when you put together all of these things that have happened. Now it's his second year as a Giant, right? So you mentioned Cleatgate, right? You can't help that he got COVID. You can't help the injuries, but you
He
just
can't
look
help that
at
his grandma died.
no, exactly. But you just look at the track record so far. There has been more time that Kadarius Toney has
Missed.
not been a part of
Right.
the team, even though he signed to be a New York Giant. There
Mhm.
has been more time that Kadarius Toney has not been a part of the team, whether it is due to injury, COVID, Cleatgate, not showing up to voluntary workouts, and even did the same thing last year, holding out of you being a first round rookie draft pick, which nobody does that, and that's why you're holding out of mandatory camp last year. So it's just when you put all those things together, that's the thing where you can kind of sit back and say, hey, is this first round pick with a ton of talent, is he as committed as possible and as committed as he can be?
Mhm.
That is the question. And I think there's the middle ground of, are you really upset? Or are you just, hey, not concerned? He's going to ball out, KT or bust, I think there's a middle ground. And I think that's where a lot of Giants fans are. You can be, there has to be that little concern in the back of your brain
Yeah,
if
yeah,
this
for
guy
sure.
is really buying in as much as he can.
Or as
Not
much
saying
as
that
he
he's not bought
should.
in.
Yeah.
Verbiage here, but go ahead there, KB.
Yeah, just looking at it, a lot of people, and that's good that you mentioned that, Justin. It's like you could have a middle ground a little bit. I
Mhm.
think I don't usually like riding the fence in certain things, but definitely in this situation, like I'm kind of like trying to ease the people that are really taking it too seriously, especially on Twitter, because I kind of don't want to like feed into like, oh, because he's a rapper, and people are thinking
No,
that
that
he's
is
doing his
that
rap
that
thing,
kind of that
you
kind of
know.
stuff has nothing to do
Yeah,
with
I
anything,
see that. I see that all over Twitter. So I'm like, I'm trying to slow that down. But how I'm thinking of it right now, once it starts to once we go into mandatory minicamp and he starts and he holds out, he refuses to show up, then we have a bigger problem. But voluntary minicamp, it doesn't matter if there was a 99% turnout. It's voluntary. Okay. If there's
Yeah.
99% people there, that's great. That's fantastic. But at the same time, it doesn't take away from the word voluntary. It's still voluntary. Although, in the back of my mind, am I still kind of upset that Tony's not part of the team right now? Yeah, because I really want him to be there. I really want him to get the playbook. Brian Daboll said it. Unless he gets here, he's not getting the playbook. He gets the playbook when he gets there. So he
And
doesn't
I
really
don't mean to
know, and
cut you
he's
off real
not.
quick,
Uh-huh.
but a quick question for both of y'all, yes or no? Or not even yes, no, but just quick answer. How much do you really think that playbook that Brian Daboll has is even developed, man? We're talking about April. The draft hasn't happened yet. The team hasn't been constructed yet. I
Well,
don't think it's not to put
co-
down what he probably put together, but I don't think it's like a serious playbook that he
Well,
has right now.
coaches usually don't start from scratch. I'm sure he has his own plays. Like he has a
Hmm.
playbook that he's probably universal, but he'll start to like move things around based on his personnel once he actually gets those guys in practice. But I'm pretty sure he's got something. He's got something for the players to look at for sure. Trying to I guess to get an idea of what the offense is going to look like.
Hmm.
So that's what I think he means by that. But I am a little bit concerned. just for Tony being like left behind once mandatory minicamp start. If there's a 99, like even if there was like a 99% turnout, which that's what it seems like. I mean, it seems like everybody's there, especially offensively. If there was that many people there, he would probably be like the only one like left behind and kind of, not getting, up to the same page as everybody else. That definitely concerns
My
me, especially a kind of guy that
mhm.
missed a lot of time last year and not getting a lot of reps. And there's a lot of inexperience there. That a guy like Kenny Galladay, a guy like Sterling Shepard. This is just one of many. Voluntary minicamps, one of many practices they've had in their careers, and not Tony, however. So a
I'll
little
I'll
concerning.
the only thing I guess I could say in response to your point about getting left behind, would be that because it's voluntary, I'm gonna go ahead and assume, and if anybody knows a direct answer, go ahead and prove me wrong right now. I would go ahead and assume NFL rules would dictate that it would be in such a way that technically nobody would get left behind because it's voluntary. So like either they'd go over what they did in the voluntary minicamp whenever
Oh, for
mandatory stuff
sure.
starts, or like there's some type of way to catch them up really quickly,
For
one out the two.
for sure, but there's always, muscle memory. A lot of these things that these players are getting to know now, they're already gonna know and instill in their mind by the time Kadarius Toney learns it.
Mhm.
There's stuff that Kenny
Well, I
Galladay
will
is
say
gonna
though,
have
KB, it's only
already
3
down.
days. It's like
Yeah,
not
man,
even
it's
that
a lot.
long.
Remember, they get a playbook to study.
I
They
know, but
get they get
and
things
I
to go over.
and
They
I'll
get things
say
to go
this.
home with.
I'll say this before I give it to Justin because he's been quiet for about a couple minutes now. Not only is it 3 days, but we have a not basic idea of how NFL off seasons go. These guys haven't really worked their bodies back into going into NFL like speed yet. That doesn't even happen until we're talking July, August. So once again, I'm just like, I don't think any muscle memory thing would really take place this early. We're talking very early right now.
Fair, fair.
Yeah, so it's not even being up to speed and getting up to speed. That's the thing for me. But I took what Kenny Galladay said as like oh boy, and
Mhm.
where he was kind of like, I think everybody should be here,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I haven't
I
even
haven't
talked
heard
to
from
him.
him.
That
I
now
Right.
I'll
haven't
say that
heard from him.
that worried me because he was like, it's been a while or something along those
It's been a
lines. It's
while
been a
since, yeah.
minute since he spoke to Tony. I'm like, okay.
And it's like, dude, for a guy that, we're kind of, worried is the wrong word, maybe concerned, right? We're
Mhm.
concerned again about the buy-in. We're concerned about where's your mind at? Where's your brain at right now? Are you bought in? That
Mhm.
you can believe that he's bought in, or you cannot believe that he's bought in. But I think the bottom line is that regardless of what you believe Kadarius Toney is, he hasn't proved that he is fully bought in yet.
Right.
He just hasn't. He hasn't fully proved it yet. He's got to prove it. And if he balls out week one and he has a great season, guess what? Doesn't really matter if you're bought in or not because you're a good football player, right? You know, that's the
Yeah.
bottom line.
And
So until you could show up on the football field more, we don't know. And when you have a teammate, and I would say, hey, you could say Sterling Shepard's the leader of that wide receiver room, right? But I think Kenny
Oh yeah,
Galladay,
I would definitely say it's either Kenny or Sterling, or maybe it
I say
should be
Sterling.
Kenny.
I say it's Sterling.
yeah,
Yeah,
I would say that, but Kenny Galladay is the one that's making the most money, and
exactly.
he's supposed to be
Right.
the best wide
Yeah,
receiver, right? So the fact that hey, they haven't, not even. I mean, I'm not expecting them to be boys and talk to each other every day, but
Mhm.
hey, just the felt that Kenny Galladay felt that he needed to say and clear up to the media. You're
like
asking me this question, and I just have no idea where this guy's at.
yeah,
That's kind of like uh, team chemistry. I do think what does matter is team chemistry. These guys coming together and learning from each other and vibing off of each other and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
think that right now that's most important, to get to know the vibes of these coaches, get to know the vibes of your teammates, rather than like, oh, do I need to catch up on this playbook? So
And
Right.
I don't. But I know I joke about it a lot, but I guess let me clear it up right now. I don't seriously believe that Kadarius Toney is the best wide receiver in the league. Of course, I say that just as a joke and as a fan. I hope he
Mhm.
could be one day. I think I see potential in him one day. But as much as we're out here kind of playing, the riding the fence game a little bit, saying, hey, and I'm sure all of us agree with this. If we start winning games and if Tony goes out and balls out, everybody forgets about this. The fact remains that, hey, there's literally no type of guarantee that he's gonna go out there and ball out. In fact, there's
yeah.
more of a guarantee that he's gonna go out there and like
Get
break a
hurt.
leg or something.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing the thing about Tony is that he's a raw player. Like, we
Hmm.
drafted him out of Florida, saying that
He
this
had a
guy's
lot
got
to
to
work
develop.
on. He's a
He's
project.
got to develop his route running.
Yes.
He's
Right.
got to
Yes.
develop. He didn't have a lot of experience at Florida, getting a lot of catches and getting a lot of reps out. So it's not like we're talking about this is a Devonta Smith, right? A Devonta Smith kind of player who's so
Please don't bring
polished,
up that name, man. That's who I
no, no,
wanted
no, no,
last
but no,
year.
but no, listen, no, just listen to what I'm saying. Like, he's a
Mhm,
polished player with a shit ton of experience. That's not who Kadarius Toney is.
Right,
This
mhm.
right.
guy's a player who's raw, who does need to be in the building and does need that hands-on coaching. And he's just not right now. Are the 3 days of the voluntary workouts going to make or break that? No, but is it a
No.
pattern of things that are starting to become a pattern of
Yeah.
bad things? Yes.
Right. And what really concerns me the most is the lack of information that's kind of be put public of like what's going on, because
Well,
nothing from Kadarius Tony's camp, come out and give him an excuse.
I'll
Nobody,
tell you.
none
I'll
of,
tell you what.
huh?
Did you see his like trainer or coach quote
No,
tweet talking Giants 2 weeks ago?
Really? What'd they
really.
say?
Yeah. So I
Well,
gotta
if
find
you
it.
could find it, what was the original tweet, and then what did they quote tweet?
So basically, I produce Talking Giants, and I put out a 3-minute podcast clip talking about exactly what we're talking about right now. There's a middle
Mhm,
ground. There's no need to overreact, but also at the same time, there is this thing in the back of your mind that has to, you have to be thinking about Tony's buy-in. So a couple days after the video is out there and the podcast clip is out there, Tony's coach, Coach Brown, I think he's made the rounds a little bit. And he basically says it's funny how grown men are talking about another grown man's job, when it's funny how he comments about how we're talking about another grown man's job, even though we've never been in an NFL locker room and we've never suited up. He's
mhm.
doing the same thing about us.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
thought that was funny. So basically, like, you don't need to worry about KT. He's doing what he needs to do. These grown men are commenting on, and you've never put on
I
a
mean,
helmet,
I
and you
hate that.
never put on pants.
Just kind of a side note. That's become a very popular thing for like former players to say now. I'm like, some of the best analysts in any game have never played the game, bro. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but second of all, even if this man has like a world-renowned trainer or world-renowned coach, Justin, I would still have good reason to be worried, because I'm like, the team probably doesn't even know what you're doing. Ryan Daboll, he didn't say
Daboll doesn't
anything
even
like,
know.
yeah, I'm
Daboll
like,
did say he talked to him.
but
Daboll
how
did
long
say
ago
he
was
talked,
that?
but
I was about to say
he
he
never
didn't
gave
say anything like
specifics.
Kenny, where Kenny gave like, man, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's
But
been a minute.
like I was
Yeah,
saying earlier, he was kind of implying it's been a while since he spoke to Tony. At least that's the vibe
right,
that I got from him.
right. He said he
Yeah.
talked to him, especially in this last press conference. He said he talked to him, but he never said when. Never said, gave it kind of a reason or even excuse of why he's not here. So that concerns me the most, man. Like, there's no information at all where he's at, what he's
Yeah.
doing. And, not that I'm like gonna be on top of this guy. Like, is he training? Is he running his routes, every day? Like, I'm not like that, but just like, why are you not there? Why are
Yeah.
you not there? Yeah.
I found the tweet. It's from Coach Steph Brown.
Hmm.
What's annoying is two grown men speaking on another grown man about what he does to make a living when neither of you have been in a meeting, a practice, a weight room, or training session with him. He's more than fine. He's working hard, and when the time comes, he'll be ready. So, I'm not going to make a big deal out of that, but, seeing Steph Brown, how this is not the first time that he has defended Kadarius Toney and on social media about, like, talking about how he's not there.
Hmm.
The more that it's talked about that Kadarius Toney is not at the Giants facility, the more it's going to be talked about. And guess when people stop talking about it? When
When
he
he's
shows
there.
up. Correct.
When he's there.
That's
I was
when the
gonna say,
conversation
is
stops.
there any off chance that it just probably pressures his camp into saying, hey, just go to this thing?
Probably.
That's the
Honestly,
thing.
maybe.
That's the thing, though. You have to also keep in the back of your mind, and this is no judgment. I don't know him personally. I don't know the
Mhm.
people in his camp outside of Steph Brown quote tweeting us. And we're bad people to quote tweet to criticize Kadarius. Like, we're bad people to criticize when we're talking about Kadarius Toney. We literally have a shirt that says "Media Some Clowns." Bobby Skinner is the biggest
Right.
Kadarius Toney fanboy, like, out there, like out of,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
out of those
We're
guys.
just,
And I
we're
know
just
how,
being real, man. Yeah, it doesn't
If
matter who it
Steph
is.
Brown ever tweets at me or something like that, which I don't expect to happen, I'm just gonna respond with my Young Joker T-shirt, man. I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
I
So,
don't. Not only am I a fan of his football presence, but I legitimately support his music as well.
yeah,
Like
me
the
Yeah.
too. I
moment
mean,
we drafted that, no cap, bro. The moment we drafted him, I went on Spotify and I started playing his songs on replay just to get his streams
yeah,
up.
Just give me
and
streams.
he's just a
You're a real
funny dude.
guy.
He's
You're a
like
real
a
guy.
funny, he's a funny dude and he's unapologetically himself, which is
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
really it's funny, you know.
Which goes back
Kadarius
to
Toney Fridays were a thing.
Which goes back real quick. You mentioned about being a leader in the locker room, how that's at least in the wide receiver room, probably Sterling Shepard or Kenny Galladay. I just want to point out real quick, when it comes to voluntary stuff, I really, if I want anybody to be there, it would be whoever the leaders are. Once again, because it's voluntary. I don't got a problem. Like, if we had 0% turnout rate, I'll be like, okay, I mean, people want a day off from work. They don't got to go in. Sure, why not? But if there's anybody there, it would be the leaders, right? And I don't even mean this as a dig or anything, but I just don't see KT as a leader on the team. Like, I just see him as a player that has a really good potential that could be a really good weapon for us, but not necessarily that leader type of build or mold.
Hey, we'll see when it's mandatory, and we'll see in the draft how exactly the Giants feel about this wide receiver room. So we'll see what they do.
Yeah.
Let me. Unless you got anything to say there, KB, let me just get a couple comments out here for sure. Let's see, the heavyweight champion of the world, aka Ric Flair, because he's saying, "Woo! Great show earlier talking Giants with Tana. Woo! I'm not gonna do it again. And remember, I do real well with the ladies, styling and profiling. Ric Flair, I know that." Let's see if there's anybody with anything else. Durant says, "Does Toney absence rub off the wrong way because we experienced the boat thing?" I don't know how I'd see them as connected. The boat thing was kind of, I guess, because they missed one practice or something like that. Is that what he's trying to connect?
I don't
When
even
they
know
went
if
to the
they
boat
missed the
trip,
practice with the both thing. I think it's just they had an off day.
it was an off day,
And
right?
yeah, I don't think they missed the
Yeah,
practice.
I don't think anybody's really talking about that. Maybe it's guys. It's solely based on just him, like his situation. You know, Tony's situation for him, like specifically individually. He's not a very experienced player at his position at all. I mean, even when he was drafted last year, he barely played at all, and he still looked pretty raw. I mean, he looked great in a lot of games, especially that Dallas game. He looked great, 189
Yeah.
yards. That's nice, but still clean. He could still clean up a lot of things, right? He can definitely catch. He needs to catch a cleaner ball, run better routes, things like that. He's still learning to be a wide receiver. It's not like he got a lot of experience in that in college. He really is not experienced in this at all. I really do get the other side of the concerns of everybody saying that he should be there and more people concerned. Right now I'm still on the thing like it's voluntary. I'll wait to see when it's not voluntary, when it's mandatory. Then I'm really going to start being concerned. But right now I'm just taking it calm and let's see what happens afterwards.
Yep.
But yeah.
So shout out to Michael R for the $2 super chat. I appreciate it. He says, "Did you see the look that Galladay gave the report today? I only got to read the quotes after the fact. Did anybody get to see what look he's talking about?
No, I don't even know what he's referring to.
Was there
Well,
a bad
I
look or
watched
something, Michael?"
I watched the part where he was talking about Tony and stuff like that. And really the words were the only thing that concerned me about just, hey, I haven't really talked to him. But
Here comes the money. And then shout out to Danny Thomas for a $5 super chat. Danny, you are correct. He says, "Hey Hub, did I not predict Deebo Samuel wanted to be traded?" And I wanted to talk about this anyway. I guess we could shift into it a bit early. But yeah, Danny was here last night towards the beginning of my stream. He lives in the Bay Area, and he was saying local newspapers or basically local news was saying Deebo requested a trade. And I responded, I'm like, why isn't this being covered by national media? I'm not sure if I believe you, Danny. Well, I take it back. I 100% believe you now because he definitely requested a trade. It's kind of a weird situation. At first I didn't understand it, but after looking into it, because I was like, it's the first time I heard a wide receiver basically ask for less touches, and he was excited about the wide back position that he coined the term of. I believe it was at the Pro Bowl or something.
That needs to retire. That name needs to retire.
It makes sense when you consider he's probably thinking about, if I continue being this wide receiver and running back at the same time, my career is gonna end very, very quickly because of the amount of touches I'm getting.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think about the whole situation in general, man? Let's get Justin first.
yeah, I mean, I think as a player, you have a right to say that I don't want to play this role. I mean, do you or don't you? Do you or don't you? As a player
I say it matters about your status. Matters
Yeah,
about your status, how valuable you are as a player. If like a Julian Love can't really say, I want to play cornerback, I want to play safety. A guy like Deebo Samuel could say, I want to be a true wide receiver. I don't want to be used as a wide back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it really matters on your on your status, on and how good are you, at one set position.
So this is his third year. He's going into his fourth year, which is his contract year because he was a second round pick, so he doesn't have a fifth year option.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So, hey, you did your time. You put in your 3 years. They put you in a different role this year. You're approaching 26, and you want to get paid. So I don't know. I go back and forth on it now. If it were a Giants player saying that, I may have a different reaction. But also, I've always been very like, go get paid, man. Like go get what's yours. Because I would want to do the same thing if I were a player. So I mean, you're seeing it more in the NFL now anyway, where these
Yeah, they're
wild,
making the moves similar to what the NBA. The NBA is very player
yeah,
controlled right now. The NFL, I think it still has a long way to go,
It's
but the NFL is still
Yeah,
very
it's
much team
getting there.
controlled.
It's getting there, but at like an exponential rate, man. It's like all of a sudden, like how many trades have we seen already? Quarterbacks and wide receivers, like it's insane. And it's not like regular quarterbacks and wide receivers, like top notch ones. My only concern to you guys, and maybe I'm just bugging out. My only concern now with all these wide receivers, like doing their time like 3 years and wanting to get traded because they want big money. Tyreek Hill and and all these other players besides Devontae Adams. I understand his point. I mean, when is it going to end? How far is this going to go? Because first of all, I'm not a big guy of paying wide receivers as it is, and so how is this going to affect how team building works?
So Justin, before
Because
before you answer, I just want to add
go
on
for it.
because I'm not sure if you I might have made a tweet about it, but for about 2 months now, I've just kind of subscribed to this new philosophy where I'm just like NFL teams, they should start treating the wide receiver position like they've been treating the running back position, and that is drafting wide receivers either every year or like every 4 years, basically every couple years,
yeah,
whatever the case is, like you see with running backs. Because you're seeing a great crop of wide receivers almost every single year, if not every single year now in the NFL draft. There's always good wide receivers from round one all the way through to like round four, potentially even round five. Like, so I'm just like, hey, if money becomes a problem type of thing, maybe you just have kind of a rotating door. Maybe that's a bad thing. I don't
but
know.
it's hard to bring the market down once it's already that high, especially when you see a guy like Christian Kirk make the money he made. It's hard to then go back and have these wide receivers want to get traded, want to get paid big money, and them refusing to do so. Eventually, they'll have to bring their money down so they can actually play in the NFL. But it's going to be very, very hard to do that. Wide receivers are going to be very, very hard and trying to get that market back down because that market's so high. It's approaching 30 million right now for a
Yeah,
wide receiver. It's approaching 30. Like, think about that. Like, the cap has not raised, the available cap for each team has not raised that high for every team to afford a quarterback that's getting paid $50 million and a wide receiver getting paid 30 million. That's $80 million for two players. Well,
yeah.
what's the cap at? Just over 200 million, 225. It's about
Especially
80
it's
80
crazy to
million
see
dollars.
it's crazy to see guys like Kirk and Hill get those contracts, and which I think this does matter in states with no income
No
tax,
tax,
state
yeah,
income
Yeah.
some type
tax.
tax,
No
right?
states.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's crazy to
interesting.
see those two guys get those contracts in the state of Florida, which KB, you
Now,
got it good.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I just had to
Oh
pay
yeah.
my had first time in my life. First time in my life, I did not. I actually had to. I've always paid my taxes, but the first time in my life that I have
Oh,
not gotten more in return
right.
than what I've
Mm.
had to pay. So, God damn it, I'm becoming an adult. No, but
Hey
the
man, come
whole
down to Florida, man.
yeah,
Actually
Bobby's
we're good with population. Stay back up there.
Bobby's been trying to convince me, but Hub, that is a great theory, and I think you may see the NFL start to kind of go in that direction, especially because of teams that do understand value and teams that may not want to love to give out those those big paydays, because really there's probably 10 wide receivers that you probably really like, and there's probably 10 of them that you could choose in this draft. Be like, yeah, I'm kind of down for you to be a Giant. The only problem is that those 10 wide receivers, probably 6 or 7 of them are going to go in like the top 50 picks. So that's the crazy thing about wide receivers, where it's also a huge run on wide receivers. But also you can get like just guys that come to the top of my head, Alec Pierce. You can get a Calvin Austin, guys like that. Maybe around the middle part of the draft, and you can feel pretty good about adding them to your football team and being difference makers kind of from day one.
Mhm.
So yeah, now here's the thing. I'm not a huge watcher of the San Francisco 49ers, even though I really like to, because they're a fun team. Kyle Shanahan is one of the most fun offenses in the NFL. He was targeted 121 times this year in the receiving game, and his yards per reception was 18.2. So that does not tell me that this guy's just a check down Charlie getting the ball from the backfield. But is Deebo Samuel just as good of a superstar football player as a wide receiver as he is with this dual running back wide receiver role?
That's the
Because that's
question.
also the thing too.
That's
You
the
know?
question, and I think he kind of screwed himself. He should have asked that earlier to just be used as a wide receiver because now he may be screwing himself out of money potentially. I mean, I don't know if he thought that maybe he'll earn himself more money by being that wide back type of dude. Maybe he does, but now he's saying that he wants to be a true wide receiver, and now he's gonna have to prove that he is a true wide receiver for him to even get that kind of money.
Yeah.
So now he's met out of like some sort of situation here. He's in a pickle. So
Deebo was a
Go
dude
ahead.
heading into this year. Deebo was a dude where I like fantasy football. I subscribe to a lot of fantasy football people, and I try and
mhm,
really do my prep because I try and be good in that. And
right,
Deebo was like on like a do not touch list. Now people didn't know his new role before
right,
last season, but he was on a
right,
do not touch list because despite having all the athleticism in the world and all this upside, people bought into it for the first 2 years,
and nothing.
didn't deliver, and now he just had this new insane role. And I was one to ignore that upside, and I drafted Brandon Ayuk instead, and he was in Kyle Shanahan's doghouse. So screw me.
Real quick, I
Yeah.
just want to say, in terms of timing out people too, though, if there was an offensive message pointed out to me, I was going back through. I didn't really see anything for the Eagles suck guy. I think he was just, yeah, he was just talking trash about the Eagles. Please, if you guys are gonna
Did
time
you
out
get
anybody, mods,
did you
let me
get
know beforehand.
Tudo's? Did you
I'm
get
about to get it right
Tudo's?
now though,
Okay.
but do shout out to you though, Tudor for the $5 super chat. He says, salute Kush, Justin, and Kid Blue, all Giants legends. Busy getting ready for the big game against my dad's team. He's their head coach. We need everyone's
Mm.
prayers. You're playing against your bro. That's kind of funny, man. I can't
Big
I can't lie.
big
You gotta
rugby
whoop
guy.
them though. You gotta whoop them.
Oh god, it's like, damn,
Hey
that head
man.
coach is crazy. He's my
So
dad.
it looks like people are kind of backing me up here. I don't think he said anything offensive. Please don't be timing people out if they don't actually give a reason to time them out, man. And then if Eagles suck, if he's still in here, I apologize for that. Getting where were we gonna go next with this? Oh yeah, with the Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel thing. Is there any chance now that if they do keep him, right? I mean, if they do trade him, honestly, I think Kansas City is the best fit. I feel like they could literally use all the ammo they just got from the Tyreek Hill trade to trade for him because San Fran said that they're not actually
Yeah.
looking to trade. Somebody would have to do something
But then they
crazy.
would have to pay him, and Tyreek Hill already. I mean,
Yeah,
how? I don't know because they kind of. I don't know if they refused to pay Tyreek Hill, or maybe they couldn't come to an agreement to
no,
pay
I
Tyreek
think
Hill.
they just couldn't come to an agreement. So I think
So,
they just
Mhm.
kind of
how would
did
it
it
be
right
with
there.
Debo? I mean, how would it be with Debo? They have to pay Debo too. Debo's
But they could
contract's
use
gonna
them.
be up.
They could still use them as a 1 year rental. I mean, listen, with the Chiefs as a team that is literally looking to win now, and we just saw the Rams as a team that was clearly in win now. They Les needs shirt. Doesn't really the
Yeah.
picks don't really matter. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs do give up a lot just for a 1 year rental to see if it could get them over the hump that they haven't really gotten over in what has been like 2-3 years now. So I mean, but what I was gonna say though is with Debo, do you guys see him fulfilling that potential that you were talking about, Justin? If he does kind of get put back as just a wide receiver, because I think that he was gonna go back there anyway because Mike McDaniel's left San Fran. Mike McDaniel's was the run game coordinator and offensive coordinator of San Fran, right? I'm pretty sure he had a big part in the running plays that made Deebo
Yeah.
Samuel a bit more explosive and a bit more versatile this year. So I thought that was gonna happen anyway.
It's still Shanahan's offense, and I think it's still Shanahan's vision.
Hmm.
Here's the thing, like he's so much better when he does play in that role, though. Like that's the thing where it's like if he goes to Kansas City, my first thing is, man, I'm so excited for all the ways that they can use Deebo Samuel. Oh, but is he only going to demand that he's used as a wide receiver? Because
Yeah.
Hmm.
then guess what? Deebo Samuel as solely a wide receiver, like I said, he's probably a very good wide receiver, and also probably a little bit limited with Jimmy G, who can't complete a pass outside the
Oh,
hash marks for
wait,
crying
let
out
me
loud.
let me say
Right.
something real quick though. The same guy that told me about this thing earlier before it broke to national media, he was saying one of the reasons was actually that him and Jimmy G are close friends. And he doesn't like that San Fran is looking to replace Jimmy G. I don't know how much
Oh,
of that is
come
true or how
on.
much of that is going to be big,
Mm.
but apparently they have a really close relationship, Jimmy G and Debo.
Take a guy in the first round, you trade up for him to get him in the top 5 with, again, a quarterback that could not complete a pass
Hmm.
outside the hash marks. He couldn't. He couldn't complete a number outside the hash marks, and you're gonna. I don't. He wants to get paid, man. He wants to get paid, and he wants his career to last longer. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that just makes all the sense of the world to me. But if he joins like a Kansas City, right, then he's joining Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He's joining Juju Smith-Schuster. And I think there's one more guy that's left, maybe Pringle, and then another
Yeah. It's
insert-
crazy how that Kansas City wide receiver room just
Mecole
isn't what it
Hardman.
was a couple
Hardman
years
over
ago,
there.
man.
Yeah.
Who is it? KB?
Hardman.
Hardman. Pringle went to the Bears. Yeah.
You know, so it's like all these kind of Joe Schmo average guys that, you know, you want to get hyped about Juju. You want to get you people did get hyped about Marcos Valdez-Scantling, another guy I drafted 2 years ago, and I was severely disappointed. But that is a very, I'm going to use it. How about this? You ready for this? That's a very mid wide receiver room.
Oh man, he's getting real cultured with that one.
But if you add Deebo to that, and you're not using him as that versatile piece, then how much does it really improve it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
and
does, but-
one of the things that this is the reason why I assume why Deebo was pretty much put into that role is that he's not spectacular at route running. He's not spectacular at catching the football, or he's just really good at making moves after he caught the ball. Like all
he's
the you know,
physical,
the run after the catch. He's very elusive as well, and he's kind of big enough to evade tackles and stuff like that. Break tackles, and that's what his strong suit is. That's why they use him to run the ball, because when he has the ball in his hands, he's very good, like Kadarius Toney, right? Kadarius Toney with the ball in his hands. He's not the best route runner, not the best catcher of the football, but when the ball is in Kadarius Toney's hands, he's able to, run around and make people miss and break tackles, things like that. Similar enough to Deebo Samuel. That's kind of why they use him in the role that they do.
Yeah.
So Deebo would just have to work on, being a true wide receiver. And I don't doubt his ability after he catches the ball. And it's just like, can he be that true wide receiver? And he can't be like the best number 2 in the world. He wants number 1 money. He's gonna have to be a number 1.
Yeah.
Like he has to be that X receiver.
I'm gonna respectfully disagree with you there because of the fact that Christian Kirk exists, man. Like that man's number 3 receiver getting paid number 1 money.
But 31 other teams are not gonna pay that kind of money for a number. Aren't gonna make.
I don't know, man. The NFL
it.
teams have made some
The
pretty stupid decisions
Jaguars
before.
are a dumb organization. Okay, let me just say that here and right here. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
We gave
They're a
Evan
dumb
Ingram
organization.
$10 million. So
yeah, this is the team that drafted a first round running back when they already had 1,000-yard running back. I mean, come on.
Well, that was with Urban Meyer there.
He
right?
didn't make. He didn't make the pick.
Well, did he not, as the head coach, have a big say in who to pick with their second
you
I wouldn't
first
say
round?
a
remember-
big say. I wouldn't say.
do you
a big
remember
say.
when after we drafted Kadarius Toney and then Urban Meyer said that he really wanted Kadarius Toney?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember how us as Giants fans were like, yes, we got this
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Urban
look at
Meyer
that."
wanted him.
Yeah. Oh
I
man.
was one of those people that said.
Kind of going back to the KT topic real quick. This is really gonna blow up in our face if he doesn't pull through, because not only that, but we traded away from Rashawn Slater and Micah Parsons,
No.
and
here's
then
the
ended up
thing.
with him.
No. And this can move us into draft if we want.
Yeah, it's about time.
Oh yeah.
There's an opportunity.
Mm.
There's an opportunity
Mhm.
to not just get a Micah Parsons. There's an opportunity to not just get a Rashawn Slater. There's an opportunity to get both.
I
And
will
I
say
am for that.
I am tentatively agreeing with you, but tentatively, because Micah Parsons was amazing. Are you seeing that from
know,
a Kayvon
I know.
Thibodeau, his rookie year?
I know. Yeah. No.
He's
No, but
excited.
Really, I'm excited, man. I will never not deny, no matter if maybe if they're Hall of Famers, but even if KT is a bust and those two guys go on to be all pros like they're kind of doing right now,
Yeah.
the process and the thought process of trading down and getting the extra pick this year, I can't deny that. That was the best thing that Dave Gettleman ever did.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. I'm with you there.
It was
wholeheartedly
good.
believe
It was
that.
good. Yeah.
So let me ask you right away: is that your dream scenario? What you want to happen? A Akeem or Evan at 5 and Kayvon at 7?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the dream. It's either a Kem Neal at 5 or Kayvon or Sauce. I'm very down.
I was about to
with either
ask.
or.
Yeah. So what do you think about Sauce? What do you think about drafting a corner in general?
Yeah, I get it. Very anxious about drafting a corner in the first round. Not only just
That's
as a
really
Giant
high,
fan,
too.
Well, mostly as a Giants fan, but then also you look around the NFL, it's these guys that are drafted in the first round, and Jeff Okudah is one of the most polished, perfect cornerback prospects of all time.
He was a good prospect, man.
He's taken, and he was hurt last year, but you haven't seen it. It's year 3, and you haven't really seen anything from him.
Right.
Cornerback is very tough to transition to, and it could be so unpredictable. Now, what makes me feel better about, especially a guy like Sauce, what makes me feel a lot better is that we have Wink Martindale's system, and that is cut and dry, man coverage, press man. And what did Sauce do in college? Man coverage, press man. We drafted DeAndre Baker in the first round, 2019, and he was a press man corner. What did James Betcher do? Put him 8 yards off the ball and asked him to play zone, and he got burned by explosive play after explosive play. So if we take a guy like Sauce, that's not going to be happening. Like he's going to be in his territory. He may allow explosive plays. He's going to have probably a little bit of an adjustment to the NFL, but he's going to be in a scheme which he is most comfortable in and which he thrived in at Cincinnati. Also playing, didn't play top competition a ton, but whenever he did, Austin of Notre Dame and then also Jameson Williams of Alabama shut them down and dominated them. Shut them down. So I'm very, very excited about the possibility of adding Sauce, but I do prefer Thibodeau if he's there because the hit rate on edge rushers outside of round 1 is very, very low.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we could talk about just like, in my personal opinion, I feel like an edge rusher that dominates at college, it's one of the position that just translates the most well to the NFL, that they're going to be a really good edge rusher versus a corner where it's like, it's not nearly the same. It's probably the exact opposite. So yeah, go ahead, KB, because I got something else to say, but go ahead first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would honestly say, yeah, I'm in complete agreement with Justin. I would prioritize getting Kayvon there. I mean, Gardner would be great as well, and then get Neal and Evan. I would just say, I mean, are we like in a total agreement, all three of us, or maybe the chat too, that the Giants should probably stay at 5 and 7?
I would love for us to, but I wouldn't be mad if we somehow traded down into the teens.
How far?
Well, I don't want to get into the Eagles territory, so it's not that far. But I don't want to get down into the Eagles territory.
Just get your tackle and
then see how it plays out,
and then see what happens. And it's funny. Joe Shane was talking today about how he's going to be getting those phone. He's been getting phone calls, and I guess they haven't been talking
for James Bradberry, right?
They haven't been talking. Well, James
Bradberry, for the 5th and 7th, they got calls for it.
Oh, I thought I saw a quote that he said that. I saw a quote somewhere that said the Giants have said they received phone calls about James Bradberry.
Shane said that a couple weeks ago. Shane said that.
Well, no, he said it today too.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I saw it today, and then of course he's been. Well, we all know why he hasn't been at minicamp. He hasn't been in attendance any days because the man doesn't know if he's gonna be here in a week or two. So
yeah, and he said that he's been in communication with him, and he's been in communication with his representatives too, which is
real quick. I don't want to get too distracted and get on too much of a tangent away from the draft. But, like, how do you feel about the Bradberry situation? Does part of you feel like, man, can we just rework his contract and keep him because he's been a good corner for us? Or are you just accepting it?
Yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire, and we have too many. Hey, you can trust the beat reporters, not trust the beat reporters. I'm pretty friendly with some of them, and they've been putting out too many tea leaves of saying that he's just not going to be here. They've been putting out enough tea leaves where I'm like, yeah, it's kind of set.
But what I'm asking is, does part of you want to keep him somehow, or are you just fine with replacing him?
For me, of course, I would love to keep him, but we can't. We can't.
I don't think we can.
It's not personal, but we can't.
If they don't view. There's part of me that says if they don't view Logan Ryan as a scheme fit, then James Bradberry is definitely not a scheme fit. But also at the same time, James Bradberry is still a starting caliber corner in the NFL. I don't care
great one at that.
He's super underrated. I was gonna say though, what you brought up is what I was saying a couple weeks ago. I'm like, this comes down, I feel like, to one person, as a Wink Martindale. If Wink says Bradberry is my guy, that's gonna be my star corner in my system, you should bet your butt that they're gonna find a way to keep him. But obviously, in my opinion, it doesn't look like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, it's obvious that is not the case. So that's why they've been very comfortable with sort of shopping him around.
Yeah.
Let me get the super chat, then we'll get right back to the draft stuff. Shout out to Tudo once again for the $10 super chat. This is in reference to Kadarius Toney. He says, Coach, we don't have those types of trainings, volunteer or not. We're a team. We're family. We always hang out, work out, practice, battle together, support each other practically 24/7. That's called team. And that's where I could say
point.
all
That's a
three
good
of us are worried because we were saying it looks like he hasn't had contact with his team.
Yeah.
Saying he hasn't had contact with the wide receiver room, and that is definitely where I'm worried too, though. So let's definitely put it there. But getting back to the draft now, go ahead.
I'll put a bow on Bradberry, and this directly ties
Mhm.
in with the draft. What I can very much see happening is like a pick swap. I can see James, like, let's just say we're at pick 67. Yes, we're at pick 67. I think the Bills have like 55. The Bills need a corner. Joe Shane, gives a call to Brandon Bean. This could be any team, really. This could be at 36. This could be at 81. It could be at 112. But he gives a call to a team. I will give you pick 67 and James Bradberry to move up to 55 to get a guard, to get a Leo Chanel, to get a player that I really like here. And then that's the return. And that's honestly, I think, the most realistic return that we're going to get for James Bradberry.
The thing that I got to ask you is, in that scenario, did we take Sauce at 7? Did we already have his replacement? Because if we didn't, I'm like, ooh.
That's to be determined. I mean, they don't even know. I mean, technically, we don't know if he's even going to be available at that point. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know that yet. But that's
my thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say why I find very interesting is him not being there at mini camps right now. Is that I have a feeling that he knows that he's gone. He knows he's going to be traded. Maybe they told him that, hey, look, we're looking for a draft day trade, or hey, we're looking to trade you right before the draft, or something like that. There has to be a reason that he's not there, because there's no coincidence. There's absolutely no coincidence with KT. There's KT and then there's James Bradberry. We kind of are getting the hint of the situation of both. And James Bradberry, it really seems like he's gone. And he knows that he's gone.
This is what I'll say in regards to kind of a combination of taking Sauce replacing Bradberry thing. I think that, and this is just me speculating, if he's not traded by the time we get to the draft, it's draft day, I feel like they're just going to wait and see. If Sauce is there, then, they'll take Sauce. They'll try and trade Bradberry like ASAP. But if Sauce isn't there, what do they do? Like, they still trade him, but then who is the replacement? I don't know if I'm comfortable with taking a chance on Stingley, even though the best version of Derek Stingley is better than the best version of Sauce. It's just that you haven't seen the best version of Derek Stingley in 2 years, and he has his injury issues.
You're just gonna have to wait for a corner.
So it's like, what do you do? Yeah.
I mean, round 2, I mean, you can go like a Jalen Petre. You can go.
He's more of a safety. I see him like as a safety.
Yeah, I mean, there's been talks of him transitioning. You could take a Tyreek Woolen, who is a long player.
6'4".
Yeah,
he's big. He's a tall dude.
I think he has the longest arms in the draft this year, and he has one of like the fastest 40s in the draft this year. I think it's.
So you wouldn't do like a trying to get somebody like a Booth or McDuffie either via trade back or hoping they slip in the second or anything like that?
I mean, trading back is a different story. I mean, so here, let's talk about this. Since we're talking about trading back, the candidates that come to mind to me for trading back are Daxton Hill from Michigan. Love Daxton Hill.
I don't like Daxton Hill.
Really? You're killing me,
he allows too many catches. He just allows too many catches, man.
Are you talking about Daxton Hill as a corner?
I talking him just as a safety corner.
Yeah, as a safety. As a safety, I don't want the Giants to take a safety at all in this draft. I may be alone in that. I want us to stay away from the safety position.
You can put him anywhere.
But if we do, my choices in the second round are Daxton Hill and
Lewis Cine.
And then in the third round is Petre and Brisker.
Now the thing with Cine is I don't think he covers that well. I think he's a guy that runs around the field. I think he's gonna take. Let
him be our strong safety then.
He's gonna go sideline to sideline, but also there's a question of like, I don't want to say how valuable is a strong, because it's valuable. I'm glad you bring that up, because I was gonna say this might just be a difference in like our philosophies of football. The reason I don't want to take a safety at all in this draft is because I feel like it's one of the positions that have like the least amount of impact on the game, and we already have a star safety. On the roster.
There are two safeties, but we already have a star safety. You just need a guy to play average on the other next to him.
You wouldn't even go in the 5th round and get a safety?
I mean, I would be happy with that. I wouldn't have a problem. I don't want to at all, but I wouldn't have a problem if they do it.
Two on the roster.
Listen, with our first 5 picks, right? Listen,
drafting a safety?
with our first 5 picks, I don't want to do it. I
I
want our
think you
first
have
5
to.
picks to be
I think you
tackle,
have to. It's such a
edge,
big hole.
I can
corner,
understand.
linebacker, tight end. We don't have a
I
starting
get
tight
it.
end.
I get it, but we have 2 third-round picks, a fourth rounder, a second
I
rounder,
just
and
did
2
I
first rounders.
tell me which I'm gonna list the positions again and tell me which one a starting strong safety that apparently is so important to this team gets ahead of.
Listen,
Tackle.
timeout.
No.
Tight
I just
end.
no.
Tight
Let me
end.
listen.
Tight end.
Tight end.
Tight end.
We don't
Tight
have a
end.
starter tight end.
There's plenty of tight ends in this draft that go from 2 to 4. 2 to 4
That's
to
gonna be a
5.
starter.
That could be Jalen Weidermeyer, man.
Oh my God. Go ahead.
Jalen
Go ahead,
Weidermeyer,
Justin.
my
Go ahead.
guy.
Listen, you can go back and forth all day. And this is the state of the Giants. You can go back and forth all day arguing which position the Giants need most. Like there is a legitimate argument of, even in my opinion, do they need a number 1 edge rusher more than they need a tackle? Because edge rusher number 1 is more important than right tackle the position, but also, you don't want to screw around with the offensive line anymore. It's enough. Fix it once and for all. So you can go back and forth and have these arguments all day. What's unique about this draft, in my opinion, is that there's a lot of pretty damn good football players in this draft, and it's going to be all over. Like picks 36, 67, 81. I am so damn excited about getting some possibly really good football players and having those 3 picks between that second and fourth round range, all in the top 100. I'm extremely nervous about reaching on picks 5 and 7. Like, I am so nervous about night 1.
I know.
I am so excited about day 2. Very nervous about night 1 because this draft doesn't necessarily have like these top of the top studs. Like, who knows what these boards look like for these NFL teams, right? It could be funky, it could be wild. Who knows what's going to happen? So I'm very, very nervous about how night 1 is going to unfold. So my point is with saying that there's so many good players. The Giants have so many positions of need. I'm not talking about quarterback.
Oh, we have a lot of holes.
I'm not talking about, basically quarterback is the only exception here, but,
yeah, I was about to say, bro, we have a lot of holes.
Running back, you shouldn't be taking in the top. You shouldn't be taking with pick 36.
We
right?
need to fill in all of our holes.
Dude, why do you keep saying that?
Take it easy there. I'm trying to be good right now.
He said it's so monotone too. He just, we have a lot of holes.
You're trying to catch me and you're trying to get me off my game, and it's not going to work right now. Okay. So really,
on this show, you're gonna get off your game. Trust me. By the end of the show, you're gonna lose it. That's what I usually try to,
I don't know what the chat is going on about. We're talking football, man. We're talking the gridiron football, all right?
Well, KB's going to be so wrong. KB's going to be so wrong unless the Cowboys take Daxton Hill. Because the Cowboys may be in play for a safety, and I think Daxton Hill would be kind of fun. Or they could take like a guy like Brisker too. I think they should. If I were the Cowboys, I'm taking either Zion Johnson, Kenyon Green. I'm gonna be, no matter what the Cowboys do besides at wide receiver, I'm gonna be pissed. So,
but no, to add on to your point, that's why I actually, that's like, even though it's not what I want, that's why I still actually looked at a couple safeties. I'm like, if they go safety, here are a couple of guys that I'm like, these would be just great players to have.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I agree with you. That's why, even talking about Sauce in the first place is a conversation, because we have so many needs on this team, and because there's great players that could immediately, in my opinion, fix some of those needs. Like, if Sauce is a great player, but nobody's telling me that a number 1 corner is, actually somebody here might tell me, but I personally think number 1 edge rusher is more important than number 1 corner. I don't know. What about you guys?
Well, here's the big thing. Adoree technically can play number 1 corner until, like, if we don't end up with
I wanted
Sauce
to bring that up.
Get rid of James Bradberry.
Do we just roll with Adoree for a year?
Get away with it. You can get away with Adoree as your number 1 and gain like a Roger McCreary in the second or something like that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
He's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
His arms are really short, but yeah, he's very fun. Yeah.
Right. And you can get away with that for a year and then, try to attack cornerback in the next draft, or free agency rather, wherever you want to go with that one. But I would say edge rusher is more important. Way more important.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think
it comes down to scheme, right? And we have a guy who loves, or not loves, but his scheme is more towards having a better corner.
In our situation, I would say we would prioritize edge rusher more in our situation, just because Azeez is great, but we definitely need someone. We need someone better and someone that can that can take the top off for our edge rushing unit, because Adoree, we can get away with Adoree and somebody else. You know, we could get away with that.
I prefer Adoree Jackson as CB1 for 2022 versus Azeez Ojulari as edge rusher 1 for 2022.
Agreed.
But
yeah.
I do think cornerback in weeks 1 through, I guess, 18 now. Weeks 1 through 18, cornerback is a more important position than edge rusher. But in the playoffs, edge rusher is a more important position than cornerback.
I would agree. Tensions are
Can you
high.
explain that a little bit?
A lot of things going on, and the edge rushers are just,
Can you explain just a little bit what you mean by that?
It gets tougher to move the ball in the playoffs because you're just going to have naturally better teams all around. So I think for the Giants standpoint, from a regular season standpoint, preventing the explosive play and stopping a number 1 wide receiver, that needs to be a pretty big priority week in and week out. So that's where number 1 corner comes in. But in the playoffs, because their teams are just so much better, it's going to be those little details and maybe things that don't usually shine in a week in, week out basis. That is pass rush. That is sacks. That is quarterbacks holding the ball for longer than they usually do because guys aren't open.
Applying pressure in a big time moment like the playoffs, edge rushers definitely come in.
I mean, I made the tweet. It was out of today. Yeah, it was today. Listen, man, Azeez don't get enough credit in my opinion for having a 8-sack, 27 pressure rookie year. All right, that's listen. That's I don't know.
You know what it is? You know what pisses me off?
Impressive. I just want to say the only reason I feel like people aren't talking about it is because we have like a freak of nature, Micah Parsons, that had like one of the freak of nature rookie seasons ever.
I don't even think it's just that. I think we don't sleep on Jalen Phillips. I mean, he played less snaps than Azeez and had more sacks in him. I mean,
I was gonna say, well, Jalen Phillips. Like, this is documented, at least on our streams and, the people that we roll with. Like Jalen Phillips was our number 1 edge in that class. Azeez was like I want to say 2 or 3 type of guy.
He was my 2. Yeah,
so it's like, that's understandable for the guys that were they knew of Jalen Phillips. But no, I just want to point that out, man. I feel like Azeez, he has yet to show me, definitely. He's only had 1 year, small sample size, yet to show me if he could be that true number 1 edge, and edge rushing is a 2-man job. But I feel like we shouldn't completely count it out. Like, so if the Giants do go sauce, I wouldn't mind taking a 2nd round edge. I definitely don't want to go all the way to the 3rd round. I feel like I don't want to do that.
We can't.
But I want the cap to be at the 2nd because I would want to either take a chance on my guy that has the Achilles tear. I would definitely take a chance on David Ojabo and probably just let him heal up and come back. Or there's guys in there like Maya J. Sanders, if he comes back from his sickness healthy enough. There's guys that have a lot of upside like Ebiketie and whatnot. But there's guys in the 2nd round is the point.
Ebiketie,
so
I like a lot.
Where I am is if we go tackle Sauce 5-7 or wherever, whatever, right? If we're not walking away with an edge rusher round 1, I'm pretty much like banging my hand on the table on that draft stream, and it's going to be Ebiketie 36 or bust. Like that
you wouldn't take a chance on Ojabo? Just kind of throwing that question out there if he's there.
I don't think the Giants are in a spot to be taking a chance on a guy because let's just say this, right? Ojabo is very much relies on his athleticism and that he's a freak, right?
Thank you. I've been waiting for someone to second me on it. He's very raw. Extremely raw.
He's extremely raw, but it's not like a Trayvon Walker where he's raw and he doesn't have to not Ebiketie. Ojabo's way more proven.
Oh God, yeah, we got to talk about Trayvon Walker. We have to later, okay?
There's a difference between taking a raw talent at 5 and 7 versus 36. But even in the Giants situation where there's so many holes, right? If we're a team like the Chiefs, if we're a team like the Bucks, if we're a team that has a lot of our pieces already figured out and we want to take a chance on a high talent we want to try and hit, then Ojabo, sign me up. But there's so many holes and there's so many things the Giants need to do in this draft. And also Ojabo's a guy that does rely on his athleticism and he just tore his Achilles. So that's the thing too. If this was a technical player, if this was a player that really relied on his technique and he was tough and he was blah, blah, it's Ojabo that he's such an athletic freak and he just tore his Achilles. So it's probably going to need to be 2 years before he can really get back to full health. And then he's going to have to develop more of his game to become a better football player. If we're talking year 3 and 4, by the time his rookie deal is almost done, that he's kind of coming up to speed, not where the Giants want to be, have to be. So that's my take.
I was thinking about that too, because, doing all these mock drafts and stuff like that, you see David Ojabo there and you're like, oh, if the Giants should take a chance on it. And I was thinking about it. I was thinking the same thing you were thinking, like he's not technically sound at all. He really relies on his athleticism to make his money. And that's fine at this point. But, coming from a torn Achilles and coming back from that, he's not going to be able to rely on that athleticism as he did before. So it's not like he can rely on technicality or his hand technique or anything technical that he could rely on. It's going to be harder for him to come back.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about, and you're right about that. So I mean, I don't know it. When it comes to draft day, I would still be looking at David Ojabo's name like, should we do it? Should we do it?
Yeah.
But probably not the best idea. You go Ibiketti there. But I'm a big Ibiketti guy, man.
Love him,
I
man.
like this dude.
And I think he fits scheme. I think he fits Wink very, very well. Where
Yeah.
he's just a dude where, especially going like moves to the inside, like inside moves
Yeah.
and jetting to that inside. You see a lot of tackles. Like, hey, Charles
And
Cross
he's
is one of
got
them. Who-
room on.
Charles Cross like opens up his hips. Let's just say Charles Cross is drafted by an NFC East team. I'm looking forward to Arnold DB versus Arnold DB versus Charles Cross film breakdowns by Bobby Skinner, because what you're going to see is Cross is going to open up his hips, EB is going to go outside to inside, and then boom, that's how he's going to win. So
Yeah.
if you have the tendency to open up your hips, EB like he's kind of a little too reliant on going outside to inside. But hey, if it's your strength, then kind of go for
Yeah.
it. And he still does have a multitude of moves, and I think he can fit Wink pretty well. Where it's, hey, Wink.
The thing with
sometimes...
the thing with Ibikiti is that he's a high ceiling player that also is kind of I don't want to know if I want to call it a project, but he's gonna take a little bit of time to develop as well to reach that potential that he has, right?
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree. But
So I would,
a guy that,
and I'm a fan of
oh,
him
yeah,
as
yeah.
well. But any other guys that you're considering, like you would not consider a Boye Mafe, who's kind of been getting a little bit more noise in draft circles, or well, honestly, that's probably about it. Like it probably
might
be
sneak into the
those two
first.
guys.
He might sneak into the first.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of mock drafts have him sneaking into the first, so he might go there. Ibiketti's a guy too that he has space on his frame to add a little bit more weight if he wanted to. I mean, he's like what 250 right now? Is he 250?
He's 253 at the combine.
He's 253. I mean, just looking at his frame, it looked like he could put on a little bit more weight there. So I like it. I like Ibiketti as a prospect, man.
Okay. First of all, shout out to Cookie Monster. I appreciate that. 70s Afro for the first person
Cross
to actually
ain't
call
ready.
it correctly. No, Cross is ready to me. I don't know about that. I know that he has a couple of issues, but I think it's
I like Cross. I
he's
think he's
part
the
of a
best
top
pure-
three. Yeah,
yeah,
like I
pure
think there's a
left-
gap
best pure
between
left
him and the
tackle in
next
this draft,
guy.
in my opinion.
I think
opinion.
that there's a gap between him and the next guy. When the next guy is Trevor Penning, and I don't know who do you have as your.
I am falling on the Trevor Penning bandwagon. I'm falling off of it.
Okay, I was about to say. I thought you were about to say falling for him. I was like,
no, falling off of it because the more I'm looking at him, like his Senior Bowl reps. I don't know a lot.
Have you guys seen that meme? It's the bus meme with two people sitting on the bus. One looking at the dark side, one looking at the bright side. The one looking at the dark side, and it's specifically about Trevor Penning. It's like, dude's a walking penalty, man. And the one on the bright side is he got that dog in him. And that's literally been the conversation about Trevor Penning on Twitter, man.
See the thing with like that grit and nasty, it's so overrated. I know people love to see
It
that
is, in my opinion.
linemen, but it's so overrated. If you look at Charles Cross, he's one of the most like energy efficient guys you see on the field. He's not nasty at all, but he's so technically sound, gets the job done. That's what I like about Charles Cross. Guy like you can go back. Ekem has that dog in him, right? So that's why everybody loves him. Mekhi Becton last year had that dog in him. You know what I'm saying?
Kem's good though. I mean,
Kem is good.
Kem is great. But then you go to Trevor Penning,
KB.
and it's like he gets knocked to the ground, and then he gets the dog comes out of him.
KB, I'm a fan of you guys, so I try and tune in when I can, whether it's the call-in shows or whether it's Young Guns every Wednesday. I try and tune in, so I know you guys have had conversations about Charles Cross, and I don't want to fully get into it,
rehash it. Okay, then
He
I don't want to fully because there's other stuff I want to
Cross.
do. It's not that I don't like him, man. It's just that
do you not see? Okay, all right. Well, how about we keep it simple? Is he your third tackle on the board or no?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
But
you know what?
We're in agreement.
Then we could keep it at that. We could very simply keep it at that.
But we take him, and if Neil or Aquanu are still on the board.
Oh
no.
Okay. Because KB, you were talking like,
I said he's like as a pure left tackle, like just left tackle. I think he's the best of the class at that, like pass protecting tackle. I think he's the best at that. So if we were to get a Charles Cross, although I don't see him going to the left side, I see if he goes to that right side, if we get him, I think he's going to be fantastic at pass protecting. I don't think I have to worry about him at all. Like that, I just feel like he's the best pass protector in this draft. But if Ekem or Neal are there and we get Charles Cross, I'll be pissed. Don't get me
No,
wrong.
definitely. I'm like, come
I
on, bro.
will be
Listen,
pissed.
I said there's a gap between Cross and Penning. There's a gap between Akeem and Neal and Charles Cross.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's keep it a
there-
buck, okay?
I'm glad we're all there.
Neal, Ekem, then Cross by himself, and then Penning and everybody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. So
Yeah.
I'm for that.
I'm glad that we kind of even brought that up though, because we mentioned how we would want to at the very least get the edge in the second round. For me, it's the same thing. If we do not get a tackle in the first round, I would be
I don't
very.
know what we're gonna do.
I would be very. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be pissed off because I'm like, I don't see a tackle
We
in the
have
second
to.
round that I want to
We
be my
have
right
to.
tackle.
I don't see a situation where we don't, man. Oh man, a lot of people are like Todd McShay, man. Todd McShay. He's a doozy, but he had Trayvon
doozy.
Walker and Garrett Wilson.
Oh yeah,
at
that was
5 and 7.
probably
I
like
said,
the worst case scenario, man.
Not even like forget about the Garrett Wilson part. Why don't we have a tackle? Why are we not getting a tackle with one of those picks? Are you crazy?
You know who
But-
brought it up? I had Manny and Antonio from the Breaking Tacos podcast, and I'll get that super chat in a second. I had them on my previous 2 streams, and I think it was Manny that said he's tired of, just in general media, even content creators saying that, oh, tackle is our biggest need, and then they go and take a position anything but a tackle. And I'm like, I agree
Yes,
with you
and
so
there's
much.
how many times we hear from Giants fans that we're like, oh, our offensive line sucks. We can't keep our quarterback upright. Then when draft season comes around, they say, well, we can wait to get offensive linemen in a second. There's plenty of offensive linemen in the second and third. The more you compensate at a position, the longer it's going to take for you to actually get better at that position. Look at the edge rushing position we have. How many second, third round, fourth round?
No, well, it
picks
was
we
third.
have?
We only spent 1 second round pick on it, and he's been our best player at the edge.
And then the fourth round too with Ellerson Smith. We're just putting so much picks into this edge rushing group, and we're compensating for it. We're just like pushing it back into the third or fourth round, and we're expecting it to get better. But it's like Aziz that's it. That's pretty much it.
So here's the other side of that though. If Akem and Neal are gone, and you draft a guy like Charles Cross, and let's just say he's not good, right? Or even let's just say the Giants don't like him. Now, that's not what the reports say, and that's not what the rumor mill says.
By the way, real quick, I think Joe's saying that's a smokescreen because that came out of nowhere. The whole like, oh, they love Charles Cross thing that you're talking about.
Hey,
that kind of came out of
Bobby
nowhere.
Bobby Johnson was and Tony Sperano Jr. I think they were working with him in his pro day, and like those were the guys that were doing the drills with him. So clearly they're getting a good look at him. I'm sure they've had him for a top 30 visit, but let's just say they don't like him, and Akem and Neal are gone. It's like, do you really want to force that tackle pick? Do you really want to force that pick just because it's a position of need and you really need it? Because now you're invested. Think about it. It's not just one more year where the Giants' offensive line's bad. Now you're signing up for first-round pick 4 or 5 years of a player that maybe you don't even like.
Well, in that
of
situation,
need,
right?
so.
In that particular situation, if we're saying the Giants brass and the coaches don't like him, then I feel like the sensible decision would be obviously not to draft him. And I guess you're gonna have to take your shot at Mr. Penning or go in the second round with Mr. Bernard Raymond or somebody, or just roll with Matt Pert.
The other side of it is there's that, and then you have to weigh out your other options. Like who would you potentially draft later on? Like is Cross? Do you hate? I wouldn't say hate. Do you dislike Cross that much for you to skip out on him?
It's like, do you dislike him, but do you see him worse than Matt Pert?
Right. Do you see him to be, a less valuable person at 7 than a Bernard Raymond at 36,
Yeah,
so
that's the thing though, because here we're gonna record from the John Boy Media Studios in Manhattan, and probably 1 a.m., 2 a.m., April 29th, when Bobby and I go live, I will be having an anxiety attack if we do not get a tackle. And even if it's Cross, I will be like, not the preferred thing, but if Neal and Akem are taken before Cross, I'll be like, hey, guess what? Invest in the athleticism, invest in the mirroring. Bobby Johnson says, and one of the things that he talks about is that he doesn't really like to put his tackles in vertical sets. And Charles Cross, what does he immediately do in vertical sets? He opens up his hips. They had those wide stances and those wide sets at Mississippi State that was just so mind-boggling. It's like, what are you doing? What kind of offense?
I was about to say, wouldn't you say part of that is just the kind of offense that we're running as well, or no? Would you say that's just only him?
Charles Cross opening up his hips like immediately after his first and second step, that's not the offense that
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
running.
yeah.
That's just Charles Cross opening up his hips and allowing guys to, work back to the inside. That's why I said like a guy like EB Katie. Watch this. I'm going to invite you guys to watch this.
Mhm.
Bobby Skinner did a film breakdown if you want to watch that, but also just watch Sam Williams versus Charles Cross. Sam
Mhm.
Williams of Ole Miss,
Yeah,
who
Ole Miss.
has a guy, hey, has some off the field problems. Perfect cowboy.
Yeah.
But a guy that I would
Perfect
be
cowboy.
very
I could definitely see him drafted by the
a
Cowboys.
guy
Or
that I would be
Redskin.
very fascinated with in the third round if Joe Shane does determine that the character issues are good. And I don't
He
think
might
will
drop
determine that.
considerably, man. A lot of people saying he might drop to 5th or 6th because of his off the field
He
issues.
should be a second rounder, but
He
I
should
think he's
be.
probably going to
He
go in the
shouldn't
third or
drop.
fourth. If he
Yeah.
drops further than that, then I'll be
Dude.
really, really surprised. But
Yeah.
neither here nor there. Watch that game, and Sam Williams works him, man. He works him like people talk about. KB, you're talking about. Just he's a refined pass blocker, but Sam Williams worked him, and
Really?
Williams is not the strongest guy, but he's just so fast. And
Right.
Cross is known for his athleticism, but Sam Williams
He
worked
beat
him, and
him.
I think he won that battle. So
My question to you though,
yeah.
Justin, would be how many Sam Williams would you see in the NFL doing that?
A lot.
Well,
They're athletic.
everybody-
They're more athletic out there, man.
everybody is
But
Sam
that's
Williams in the
like
NFL.
that's saying that Cross is not going to develop or improve at all though.
No,
It's a
I'm not
concern.
no,
It's a
that's not
concern.
s
Yeah.
it's not saying that. I mean, Andrew Thomas had, issues of allowing inside
Yeah.
moves, right? That's
Plus,
how
like
he got beat up.
I don't want to seem like the ultimate Charles Cross defender because he's not even a player that I rock with that hard to be the ultimate defender. But if we
Right.
do take him,
Balance and rate.
I would like, you know what, Glowinski helping him out on the inside, man. I would be fine with that.
Yeah, he's on the right side. Yeah. Yeah, and that definitely does help too. Whereas, hey, Will Hernandez, every time there was a stunt, was a turnstile. So like he somehow got worse in his NFL career picking up stunts. Like somehow
I
his
know,
football
man.
IQ got worse as the years went on.
I
So
liked Will Hernandez, man. I really did.
Let me
Everybody did.
get this super chat and then we could I do quickly want to talk about the couple of linemen that we signed. Tudo, what's up, man? For the $5 super chat, I appreciate it. He says, Kush, all NYG needs is players with the right size, talent, attitude, and good workout ethics, and a good GM and a smart head coach to teach, train, and
He's
develop
just
them. Listen,
Pounding the KT stuff.
I'll say this. Listen, I'll say this though, man. Just never want to get back into the 2021 season, the debacle that was. But yeah, a lot of me believes that was just coaching or the teachers not doing their job that well, in my opinion. And shout out to Tana in the chat. What up, Tana? How you doing, man?
What's up, man?
Popping in there. But yeah, so let's talk about not Will Hernandez, but let's talk about Glowinski. What do you think about him and Feliciano? Because this does directly relate to the draft. Actually, maybe your thoughts on Feliciano first. I'm not too comfortable with them basically having him be the center. I don't know, man. I would much rather have him just be a guard and draft a guy like Alec Lindstrom out of Boston College.
Yeah, I'm on a Cole Strange chain. A Cole Strange train.
That's Central Michigan guy. Where's he
Chattanooga.
from? Chattanooga. Okay, I saw the C, so I'm
It's
like,
the
yeah.
C. Hey,
Okay,
they look
Chattanooga.
exactly the same.
Yeah, yeah.
Was he gonna do
colorblind.
something
Are you
strange for a little
colorblind?
bit of change?
No.
You're, all right, Then I
Okay.
blame you. No. So yeah, I'm a big Cole Strange guy. But even let's just say we do take a guy that's Cole Strange, right? I think where our brains are differ from where the Giants' brains are.
Mhm.
Feliciano is a guy that already knows Brian Daboll's system. He knows what's going on. He knows the protections. There's probably going to be some changes now that Kafka's in there, but largely I think it's going to be Daboll's mind and it's going to be Daboll's vision, right? So that's where Feliciano has that clear advantage on an offensive line that is probably going to have 4 new starters. Lemieux is kind of new because he suited up for 13 snaps last year.
I would hope that Lemieux becomes a depth guy. I would be very happy if Lemieux becomes a depth guy.
Yeah, and exactly. Like they shouldn't like the Giants 2020 mindset or 2021 mindset was, all right, we're just gonna bank on this guy,
Mhm.
instead of like, all right, let's work on how we can address at least depth. The depth that they addressed was getting guys that eventually retired.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, so
not very
far,
good due
the depth
diligence.
so far that we're quote unquote depth because we'll see who becomes a starter and who doesn't. I am way more confident in. I feel like, I don't know, we've gotten some good guys, I'll say, for the money, for kind of bargain bin hunting.
Yeah. I'm more comfortable, definitely more comfortable with Glowinski going in as a day one starter at right guard, and I think he will be, than I am Feliciano. But I do think, unless like a Cole Strange really, which if Cole Strange is drafted, let's just say it's 67 or 81, then Cole Strange is a day one starter at left guard. I feel he's a starter at one of those guard spots
Mhm.
but he also could play center.
So you're
he could
definitely a little
compete.
bit high on Cole Strange then.
Yeah, I really like him. Or there's also a
Where would
Dylan
you take
Parham.
him? I'm not
Dylan
the biggest
Parham
fan
from
of
Memphis.
Dylan Parham as a lot of people are.
I'm more of a
like,
Cole Strange guy. So
where
I'll
would you
have to
take
look into
Cole?
Cole
Third
Strange.
round?
I've seen his name, but I have to look
Third
into
round,
it.
Justin, or earlier?
yeah, I would 67, 80. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna give you a little secret sauce right now.
Mhm.
I'm kind of feeling a James Cook vibe at 67.
I
and
saw
then
your
I
tweet
seen it on
today.
Twitter.
I saw your tweet today.
and I
You're
don't.
falling in love with
I'm
James
like
Cook.
I'm like flirting with it. Flirting
Here's
with
the-
like a
let me
James
ask
Cook at
you-
67 because I'm more confident that an interior O-line guy will be there at 81.
Let me ask
So,
you something, Justin.
Wait, where are you taking the
about-
tight end then? Where are we getting our starting tight end in the 4th round?
You can go in
Listen,
the 4th round and get one.
I'm
man.
gonna have breaking news for you. The Giants are going to walk away from this draft with a position that they probably won't address, and people are going to be upset about it.
It's gonna be a tight end.
If
And
it's tight end, I will say
don't know.
this. I will say this because KB, you had something to say. If it's tight end, I will be reasonably upset because I believe we don't have a starter at that position right now. But go ahead, KB.
Agreed. Yeah, and like I said, just like last year, right? It was last year, right? We didn't draft the offensive lineman.
Mhm.
There's gonna be a position that we're gonna miss out on, and I don't think we should. There might be a position we double dip on, and then we sacrifice another position for. So
Yeah.
it could happen. We have 9 picks in this draft, so. But what I would say about James Cook, and I've been going back and forth about this with myself for a lot because I want to like James Cook a lot. I don't, however, because Justin, how do you see him as like a runner? Like honest opinion. How do you see him I don't see him as a runner. I just see him as a pass catcher out the backfield. He's a great receiver, runs great routes out the backfield. I mean, I'm absolutely, I love watching his tape when it comes to that. And honestly, he fits a Daboll type scheme. You see the way they use Zach Moss. You see the way they use Devin Singletary.
Mhm.
These smaller running backs, they weren't running in between the tackles like hard-nosed runners. They were catching the ball out the back. The same thing what James Cook does. But how do you see James Cook as like a potential running back to replace Saquon? Because Saquon's probably not going to be here much longer. Let's be real.
Yeah.
If we draft James Cook with a 3rd round pick, do you see James Cook being that running back for us moving forward, or do you see him more as like a committee type guy?
I would think he would be more of a committee at least from day one because I'll tell you what, I'm excited about a backfield that is James Cook and Matt Breida. I'm kind of excited about that.
I would too. I would too.
And there's a question of, James Cook and hey, can he block, right? Does he have the necessary strength in the NFL to hold
Right.
up in the NFL? Because he's under 200 pounds and that's legit. I have to check up on a little bit more data, and I've watched 3 games, but I want to watch more because that's how fascinated I am by
Mhm.
James Cook.
Yeah.
So the yards after contact per attempt numbers is something that's actually positive and I like, and it's better than you would think. So
Okay.
that gives me a little bit of hope that, hey, maybe if this guy isn't going to break tackles, but if he's a little undersized, is he still falling forward consistently? And if your yards after contact numbers are somewhat positive, and if they're ranking towards the upper echelon of the class, then that's good. That's a positive sign that, hey, even though you're a little light, you can kind of handle it. So like I said, I'm still in this flirtatious stage. And there may be another running back that I'm like, hey, I'm with it. The only way that I'm with a running back though is if you're kind of committing to doing something with 2-6. Like I think it's irresponsible. If you want to keep Saquon Barkley, which I guess I'm okay with, if you want to keep him this year, then it's irresponsible to take a running back in the top 100 picks.
This is what I'll say in regards to Saquon. As of right now, I feel like we have a good running back group where we don't necessarily need to take somebody. Like we have a
Correct.
backup in Matt Breida. We even have a guy in Antonio Williams that, is familiar with the Bills offense, that's been there as a 3rd option if the need
He's
comes
familiar
to
with
be to
the
have.
Why do we keep talking about Antonio Williams before our guy Gary Brightwell?
Hey,
huh?
hey, no,
Why?
no, you stop
Why?
it. You stop it.
Why?
No, listen to me.
Dreadlock power, bro.
I have
Dreadlock
a
power.
fun story. I have a fun story to tell you. So you know how
Uh-huh.
we interviewed Antonio Williams, right? On Talking
Oh.
Giants.
Mhm.
Oh snap! I have to look into that.
Look
I
it up.
didn't
And
see it. I
Antonio
didn't see it. Man, I'm
Antonio
sorry.
Williams Talking Giants. It was actually a really fun interview. He's a really, really interesting dude, a really, really fun guy. So I
Okay,
suggest that you check that out. So his Twitter account was hacked this weekend.
Oh,
He
snap.
he DMs me from his Ancient World Gaming account, and he's like, "Yo, Justin, can you let me know that I was hacked?" And can you let people know so they know that, like,
Oh snap! You
it
got
was
the
an
inside
NFT.
scoop.
It was an NFT hack, and I'm like,
Oh
I
snap!
see you messaging me to let people know.
Wow.
So that was a cool moment. So I am definitely rooting for, and this isn't even just like personal bias. Antonio Williams is a much better running back than Gary Braywell. Sorry.
But
He just
even
is.
then, I was gonna say, like, we have 4 backs there
I
right now.
like
Where I'm just like,
Brightwell,
I don't
man.
feel the need to add one.
Another one.
And I
yeah.
am a fan of James Cook. I'm even a fan of Kenneth Walker, who a lot of people view as the best running back. Probably a
Too
second
high,
round
though.
pick.
Yeah,
That's what I
too
was saying.
high to
Yeah, like
pick a
probably a
running back,
second
yeah.
round pick though.
I'm
Like,
a big guy. I love bruising back, especially bruising back with breakaway speed. Brees Hall is my guy, man.
Brees Hall is
I
really good. A lot of people
love
like Dameon Pierce
Brees
as well.
Hall.
They're
If we're looking
bringing
at
all,
it,
and here's
yeah.
the thing:
yeah,
where there's smoke, there's fire. They're bringing all these running backs in on top 30 visits.
Okay.
how
That's the
many have they
thing.
brought in on top 30 visits?
The one regret of draft season that I've had this year is I have like 55 notes of 55 pages worth of
Mhm.
notes on my Google Docs of players that I've looked at, but I've barely kept track of the top 30 visits and tracking that. So next
Oh,
year
yeah, let me
I
get
want to
that.
I want to do a much better job of keeping track of the top 30 ones, but
I'm sure there's
like
a list right now.
James Cook, I know they brought in. Hall, I'm pretty sure that they brought in. I know Walter Football KB has a list of players that the Giants have met with, either at the Combine, Senior Bowl, and stuff like that, and they like label it. So if you want to search that,
Okay.
But
but they're bringing these guys in though.
kind of this would be, I guess, my bow on the running back position, potentially drafting one though. I view it kind of like a view to safety in the sense that I would put it off until next year if we have to, right? Like if there's positions I got to put off because it's like, yeah, we're not going to fix everything in one draft. It would be safety as one of them, and it would be running back. To kind of go back to the inside offensive lineman, which we talked about very
Yes.
quickly, I feel like we'd all probably agree that we should take both a tackle and an inside lineman of some sort, yes or no?
Yes, especially in the top 100.
Yeah.
I want a tackle and an interior O line in the top 100.
Yeah.
If we take Kenyon Green at 36, which hey,
I was
at
about to say,
Combine,
Kenyon Green has been dropping on a lot of boards and a lot of mock drafts. If he's there at 36, I feel
Yes.
like he is a no-brainer pick. But
it
then,
right in
though,
there.
but also,
We would have to get edge
but here's
rusher.
the,
at
KB. I was
number-
about to say it. It comes back. Did we get an edge in the first round? What are we doing in
no,
an edge?
no, here Kenyon Green at one point was a guy that like Bobby and I were like, should we take him at 7? Like Kenyon Green is that dude, man. He's
Yeah.
that dude. I'm pretty sure Bobby and especially Bobby's gonna have a stroke if we take Kenyon Green at 36. He's gonna have a stroke. Like that is how happy like he will be. He is that dude, man. I think he's the best guard. I think he's a better football player than Zion Johnson. I think Zion Johnson is a better athlete. Yeah, man, Kenyon Green is that dude. He's strong.
This is why, bro. This is why I'm saying take the tackle at 5, and honestly, see if anybody wants to trade up so that we could get some additional picks, man. Because it goes back to what you've been saying as well. We had 9 picks, but that's not enough to fulfill some of the things that we got to fulfill.
And here's the thing, KB, I'm gonna go to you right after this.
Yeah.
I would feel a lot more comfortable reaching on a player. Like, let's just say we trade back to 15, right? 12, 15, 17, whatever. Let's say we trade back to one of those picks. I would feel a lot more comfortable reaching on a player like a Kenyon Green, like a Daxton Hill, like a Devin Lloyd, even though you can argue those aren't reaches. I'm more comfortable reaching on a player if we trade back because we got the extra trade ammo.
Exactly.
Because we got those extra picks.
Exactly.
So KB, who have we met with?
So, I mean, we've met with a lot of players, but the running
Yes.
backs in specifics, it's Brees Hall, private workout.
Mhm.
It
Top 30.
was top 30, and then it was James Cook, and
Top
then Brian Robertson too, and
So
then
3
some
running
guy
backs,
out
yeah.
of Villanova, some guy.
Also
out of
4,
Villanova.
okay.
Yeah. So yeah,
Ooh,
and
that's a good amount.
Pierre Strong as well.
Mhm.
Is it 4 or 5?
Dude,
So that's 5. That's 5 running
They're
backs.
meeting with them.
5? Are we
That's
actually?
5
Okay,
running
hold up.
backs.
Well, first of all, I just want to say real quick, shout out to everybody here. We got 77 people watching. As Cushmaster just said, remember, supporting the hub is like supporting small businesses. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and definitely do the same for these wonderful gentlemen here. All right, let's get back to it. Is taking a running back legitimately, like, is it worth it? Is it worth it in this draft?
I don't know. I will say as well, I see here that the Giants also privately worked out Abraham Lucas. He's a guy I like.
Tackle in the second round,
especially
right?
tackle second round.
I remember
So
looking at him
there's a
last year.
possibility there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh, Aiden Hutchinson even came in for a private workout. Wow.
Yeah, what doesn't really make sense to me, and Bobby and I were talking about this, the episode that we put out today.
Hmm.
The Giants and all NFL teams do this for these top 30 workouts. They bring in guys that like aren't going to be there, like Aiden
Yeah, it's like
Hutchinson's.
waste. I don't get it. You're
I think
wasting a
they do
workout.
it just so they dot their I's and cross their T's,
But
just in
also, like,
case
why do you need to
something
bring in Aiden?
happens.
Why do you need to bring in Aiden Hutchinson to a
Hey, man.
private workout when you know, like,
Hey,
do you need to
man.
know if he's a top 5 pick? Like,
Oh, okay, I get that. Yeah, I get that. Maybe I
you
don't
know,
know. Maybe they're just
It's
trying
like,
to
do you
see
need
what.
to know how good he is? I think you already
you
do.
get 30 of them.
Yeah.
You get 30 of them out of how many picks there are in the road? There's 256 picks in the NFL draft, ideally. Maybe not counting comp picks and stuff like that. So you get 30 of them, and you're choosing Aiden Hutchinson as one of them.
I will say, and people are gonna go crazy about this. I will say Trayvon Walker came in for a private workout. That's disgusting.
Mhm.
And Malik Willis came on for a private workout
Yeah.
too.
You know,
So that's
I would
interesting.
take private pleasure in just watching some Giants fan freak out if we do take Malik
If we take
Willis.
Malik Willis, I'm not
Woo!
even that. I mean, I don't. I don't want it because we have so many holes to
Oh,
fill.
I'm
But if
with
it
you,
was,
but like if we take him,
but
at the same time, I do
uh-huh.
personally think he's the best quarterback in the draft. I still think nobody's going to change my mind that it's not a weak. It is a weak quarterback draft class. So I still think
No, it is.
any quarterback that goes in the first round is technically a reach, but we're not going to get into that right now. Shout out to Eli Rax in the chat as well. What's up, man?
I
Hey,
will
Eli.
say your boy Cole Strange is went up for a private workout too, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
And a guy I like. Keep look out for this guy, man. Isaiah Thomas out of Oklahoma. And there's a lot of Isaiah Thomases in the sports world, but look at this dude, Isaiah Thomas, man. This guy is gonna be a sleeper, man. And he
Isn't he
came in
like
for a
a
private workout too.
third or fourth? Am I wrong about that? Third or fourth round guy?
When I was looking at him, they had him as like a fifth or sixth, but he's been rising up draft boards,
Yeah.
and his tape is good. His tape is pretty damn good, and
He
he's
was
rising up
also
draft
at the
boards.
Senior Bowl, I believe. I might be wrong about that.
And he's a perfect fit for a 3-4 defense. He's a guy that can play 5 tech, 3 tech, and
Yeah.
he's big and strong, and it has very aggressive on the inside too, man. He's a
Yeah.
guy I would
It would
love
be
the Giants to
very,
go.
very funny if we took Isaiah Thomas and Chris Paul. I would just laugh.
Wow.
There's a Chris Paul in this
yeah.
draft, right?
Yeah, there's a Chris Paul in the draft.
What
There's a
position is he
Kobe
playing?
Bryant. There's
Yeah,
a
there's a
Kobe
there's
Bryant.
There's a
Kobe
Kobe
Bryant.
Bryant. What
You know
would it
what's
see,
funny?
though?
You know what's
Yeah.
funny? In my mock draft, the only one that I did
Michael
manage
Jordan,
to do,
like 2
I
years ago.
almost picked Kobe Bryant in the fourth round. Like instead of taking Jalen Tolbert, the wide receiver, I was
Kinda
like,
like him.
maybe I should go Kobe Bryant. I wouldn't mind going a corner if we waited out and just to have depth at that position. But yeah, no. So this actually brings back to a question I didn't get to ask you when we were talking about the cornerback spot. How would you feel if we just didn't address it at all and Bradberry is gone? Like, are you comfortable for 1 year
we couldn't do
rolling with the
that.
current room, which would be,
They wouldn't
you
do
know,
that. They wouldn't dare. They wouldn't dare do it.
wouldn't they?
It's
Though?
gonna have to happen somewhere, right?
Or
Yeah,
I was about to say, or what if they do take somebody, but it's like that somebody is not going to step ahead of Aaron Robinson? So like, you know what I mean?
That could be likely where
It's
they
like
the Bills in particular. Now obviously with Wink Martindale, it's a different system than what they ran with Leslie Frazier over there. But the Bills like to take their flyers on corners, and some of them have been really big hits. I can't remember on the top of my head, but we do every Friday on our draft previews. We do the exercise of going through Joe Shane and Brandon Bean's draft classes, and what positions have they acknowledged? What kind of players are they? Good players? Are they bad players? Etc. So the Bills have they took their flyers on those corners on day 2 and day 3, especially day 3, and some of them have worked out really well.
Is there
So
a
I can
name
see
that comes off the top of your head that we might
that's
know
what
of?
I'm gonna have to look
Yeah.
up, and I will.
They
A
got a
day
couple
3
of good.
corner.
They
I
got a
actually have
couple
it
of
right here.
good, corners they've kept there for a while. I don't know if they were drafted by them, however, but yeah.
Was Levi Wallace one of them?
2018.
I'm a really big fan of
Yeah,
Levi Wallace.
I was just thinking about him too. Levi Wallace,
Taron Johnson.
Taron Johnson. Okay.
Taron Johnson, he was a 4th round pick from
Mhm.
2018, pick 121. And I believe there was also a 7th rounder too, who is actually pretty good.
Speaking of the Bills, and since we're back on cornerbacks, how
Yeah.
would you feel if we do a player for player trade with the Bills and Bradberry? What if we do Bradberry for Edmonds straight up? How would you feel about that?
I
Edmonds is
don't.
Edmonds is
know, he's young.
expiring.
Yeah.
He's going to be looking for an extension. So I don't know about that. And Edmonds is Edmonds is also a 1st round pick.
Mhm.
So he's looking for that extension like right now. So I don't I don't know about that. I would rather the Giants say we're in a spot where we can take like
I
a
like Edmonds
Channing.
though.
Yeah, he's a great
He's
player,
young
and
as hell too.
I think Bills fans would be pissed if that happened. By the way, like I think Bills
They
fans
would, because James
from
Bradberry is approaching 30.
yeah, and also like how many years left are you going to have of James Bradberry versus Tremaine Edmonds is a player that you took in the first round in the same draft as Josh Allen,
And
and
he's
you're gonna
like 23,
you're gonna
right?
trade it.
Mhm.
You're gonna trade him away. So
Young as
I don't know
hell.
about that,
That'd
but
be
yeah,
so
I could
young.
easily see. I know Dane Jackson too. He was a seventh round
Dane
pick
Jackson,
from
7th round pick in 2020, right?
yeah. He went to Pittsburgh. And he's
Mm.
actually kind of in line this year to actually be a starter. So a seventh round pick.
Remember
is
If
our
they don't,
gonna be
seventh
a
if
round
they
starter
don't get
cornerback
him
from
eventually.
2020 that never saw the field, Chris Williamson? Man,
Oh
yeah.
man, Chris Williamson. I liked him,
we.
man. I thought he could make a transition to safety.
I
Didn't
don't think
Dave
he.
Gettleman get his name wrong?
Yeah, he did. I don't think
Did
he
he?
even made the 53-man roster. I think he was on the practice
No,
squad or
he
something.
didn't. Yeah, he didn't. He didn't.
Tough.
Damn, sad
Tough.
I
time. Yo,
liked him.
Dave.
I liked him though. That's
I
right.
mean, Dave Gettleman. I'm not gonna try and like go back on my own words. I still think there were good moves made, but looking back on it right now, I'm like, yo, he's a war criminal, man. Dude's a war criminal. Look at what he left us with.
Well, look at the
Ridiculous.
cap space, man. That's the biggest gripe I got about Get him is the cap space that he left us with, man. It's just yeah. he
So
put
let me
all
ask
the
you
Been a
about-
eggs in
lot
the
better
basket.
if they won.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they won games, I wouldn't be complaining, man. And this team wouldn't have to be in the mess that they're in trying to upgrade it right now. You know.
So let me ask you about that tight end position, Justin. It
Sure.
seems like
Let's talk about it.
you've been very comfortable with kind of foregoing it. Just your thoughts on that position in general, drafting, not drafting it.
Well, I'm not comfortable with only going in with Ricky Seals-Jones as tight end 1 because
Agreed.
Ricky Seals-Jones is barely even tight end 2. Like he should barely be a tight end 2 in any kind of offense. But it's just a matter of Trey McBride is a reach at 36. I'm sorry, he
Agreed.
just is.
Agreed.
Oh no. Okay, let me clarify something. I don't think any tight end should be going until the third round, but that won't happen. There will be teams that take tight ends in a second.
Yeah,
But that being said, I still think we could get one of the best tight ends in the third round with like our first third round pick. I think that is a legit reality.
Weidermeyer.
I've never Weidemeyer.
I like Weidermeyer.
If Diggy was in here, he's a big Greg Dulcich fan.
Yeah, Dulcich.
I'm a big Trey McBride fan, but he might not be there at what is our first round pick? Is it 61, 67?
67.
We have
67,
36,
81.
67, right?
67, 81.
So he probably won't be there. So like Isaiah Likely is somebody that nobody's talking about. That's a
I haven't even watched film
possibility
on
at
him yet.
67.
I haven't even got to him
Right.
yet.
So here's the thing about Dulcich and Likely even more than Dulcich.
They don't pass protect.
I'm kind of pass protect. They don't block.
They don't block at all.
Likely, you watch Likely and he has a lot of snaps where he's this flex tight end, kind of lining up as the slot wide receiver. His hand isn't in the dirt. He's not in line. And, he's good blocking in the open field, and he's willing to do that. But how often are you going to be doing that in the NFL, looking and blocking in the open field like that? Your hand's going to be in the dirt. And Dulcich is kind of the same thing where they don't block well. Like if the ideal world of fantasy football, where I see a lot of fantasy football accounts talking about Dulcich, it's like, that's great. He really runs well in the open field, and he can fit any offense, especially Brian Daboll's of crossing routes. But if you're asked to block, it's tough. I'm sick and tired. I am sick and tired of having tight ends that are just willing blockers who try. Give me a freaking guy
that
who
can block.
Put his hand in the dirt.
Who do you see as that? Who do you see as that?
Trey McBride can block
Does
very
my
well.
guy Jake
Very
Ferguson
well.
pop up? Even though I wouldn't take him in the third, I'm definitely taking him later than that. Does he pop up in line for that?
McBride definitely. Who did you say? Jake Ferguson?
Yeah.
I love Jake Ferguson.
Oh yeah,
I love him.
I'm Jake Ferguson is my favorite tight end in this class,
That's a
but I'd
Wisconsin
probably
guy?
take him in the fourth or fifth.
Yeah, the only thing with Ferguson is I don't ever view him as a tight end 1. I don't think he has the athleticism to ever be tight end 1. I think he's Caden Smith. I mean, really. I think he's a younger Caden Smith who will have more years of
my
control.
question for you though, Justin, is what is a tight end 1? Were you happy with Larry Donnell and Will Tye in 2016? Were they serviceable tight end 1s?
You want to know why I was thrilled with Larry Donnell?
Why?
2015.
I loved Larry Donnell. Don't ever speak about Larry Donnell like that.
Larry
I loved
Donnell.
I'm not speaking about him in a bad way, but what I'm saying is, do you
2.0.
do you
that
think
man
Jake
was-
Ferguson cannot reach a Larry Donnell type of level?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, like I said,
So then,
I think he's Caden Smith,
Well,
and
they
I
tight end
don't.
think
Well,
one.
they don't have Eli at quarterback. That makes every tight end look good. I mean, Eli made
no,
every
he
tight end look
hey
good.
hey, Daniel Jones and Caden Smith had a connection in 2019. They did.
Yeah, but it wasn't
And it's because
consistent.
Daniel Jones, the way that he works as a quarterback and the way that Brian Daboll is going to let him work as a quarterback, because this is what Pat Shermer did, high to low reads. And that's what Daboll's going to bring back, high to low reads. None of this, everything is decided pre-snap stuff. You have to
Right, right. I hate
immediately
that.
read the defense, and everything is pre-decided, and you have to read it with your eyes. I mean, there's obviously that in the NFL, but it's not going to be solely predicated on that.
Mm-hmm.
Why Caden
High to
Smith and
low.
Daniel Jones were so successful in 2019 towards the latter part of it is because Caden Smith was that basically that dump off check down option towards the middle of the field. Daniel Jones doesn't work like Eli, where Eli would go middle of the field, sideline, check it down, panic, get the ball out.
Mhm.
Daniel Jones is a fearless mother effer, and he's going to stand in there and
Yeah.
he's going to stand in there longer than he probably should, and he's going to continue to look, but he's going to scan high to low. And that's why him and Caden Smith work so well. So Jake Ferguson could absolutely be that for the Giants this year. I also like Charlie Kohler from Iowa
Mm-hmm.
State, who's not the best blocker, but he has really long arms and he gets good arm extension. Charlie Kohler has insane production inside the red zone. He is an awesome route runner. He's arguably the best route runner in this draft class. Bobby actually put him as tight end 2, which may be a little too high for me, but
That I
tight
would
end
say
2
that's a
in the
little bit
entire
higher.
class.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that you're probably going to be able to get in the 4th, 5th round.
I
Jelani
mean,
Woods
yeah,
is
Jelani
Jelani
Woods,
Woods is a very
is
fun
fun.
player to look at.
Mm-hmm. And
Mm-hmm.
he's a good blocker too. I mean, and he's not just a good
And
blocker because he's huge, but
Woods
he
is
brings
somebody
it.
that I definitely would consider taking with our third round pick. Like he
Yeah,
would be worth the third
yeah,
round pick.
absolutely. So he's just really fun just because you don't see the size and the athleticism pairing like that ever. I love following the relative athletic scores. You saw a lot of that at the combine. There's the account Math Bomb
Just a
would
real
tweet
quick,
this out.
fun fact. I'm not saying this is a positive or negative about the relative athletic score. I believe one of the only players to ever achieve a perfect score on that has been Giants legend Lorenzo Carter. But continue.
Really, he
Yeah.
received the perfect score. I'm gonna
If
check
we're
on this
if we're
right
thinking
now.
about the same thing, is it that chart thing with the green and the red?
RAS.
Up RAS relative athletic score. Let me try and find it.
Yeah,
Photos.
we haven't slandered Trayvon Walker enough in this stream, and
Oh
I
my
think
god, I've been trying
that's
to avoid him, bro.
that's been a
Yeah.
travesty.
Yeah.
Trayvon Walker is a
So
bust.
it was Isaiah Simmons who got that 10 out of 10 score.
Mhm.
And then it's Lorenzo Carter. Those are
Yeah.
the two linebackers
To
that
ever have a
have
10.
hit the 10 out of 10
Oh my
scores.
god,
And
that
I
is my
think
next talking point for
and I
mean-
anti Trayvon Walker.
and I think it started in like 1987. So, and I'm pretty sure for the
Like I
tight
said,
end position,
I'm not saying it
it's
to like yeah.
hold on. It's like Jimmy Graham, and then it's like Jelani Woods, which that's not everything. That doesn't mean that
Mhm.
Jelani Woods is going to be Jimmy Graham, but you just look at the pairing of size, speed, explosion, length, all that stuff. It's pretty elite, that side of things.
I was gonna say I'm not saying it to be a what you call it a bad or
Debbie
good thing,
Downer.
but yeah, no, just keep in mind the perfect score is our dude who we let go this year.
Yeah,
So
I don't
those are your
understand.
tight ends. And there's a couple of them third roundish, and then a couple of them fourth or fifth roundish. So yeah, I'm kind of right there
You know
with
who
you.
I love? Chig Okonkwo from Maryland.
I'm gonna
That's
keep it
a
real with
Giants
you.
name if I ever
I
heard
don't
one.
even know who that is, man.
That's a
Chig
New York.
Okonkwo.
That is
Look
a
him
New
up.
York Giants name.
I don't know if I can
Um,
look him up. I don't know how to spell that.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
right. How do you?
just look up Chig.
Hey Siri.
Chig, and then look up Maryland tight end. And
Oh,
then you'll be able to find him
you
there.
shortened his first name too.
Yes.
Chigosium
Chiggy.
Okonkwo.
But
Chiggy.
Chig is that's an elite name. So
Chiggy. Yeah.
but Chig Okonkwo, like he's definitely like
Bless
probably
me
like
with a little bit of knowledge about him.
the last tight end like on these like tiers of guys that I'm talking about, but the dude can move. The dude can move.
Oh yeah, he's
and
got an
you
athletic frame. He's got an
you
athletic frame
don't
to him.
find athletes like that, especially at the tight end spot on day 3. Like day 3, I call them thumpers. Like you'll
Mhm.
find the Rhett Ellisons of the world on day 3 of the NFL draft for tight ends. Just guys that can sort of pseudo block. You know, they're big, they're strong, short, but they can't really move And anytime that they get the ball, they're putting two hands on it and they're waiting for somebody to come in and swoop their ankles out. That's not Chig, man. Chig can move. And
Yeah.
watch the game against Michigan State where he has like this insane touchdown on the right sideline where he shows off balance, speed, athleticism, explosion, everything like that. So Chig would be a guy where if we take one tight end, let's just say in the fourth, fifth, third round, whatever range, if we take one tight end, day 3, Chig is a target because then he
Mhm.
could be like that situational guy that can come in along with Ricky Seals Jones.
This guy's athletic as hell. He just took a
Yeah.
freaking sweep. He just took a
he's
tight end
he's
sweep to the
fun.
house.
You don't
Yeah.
see tight ends on day
What's your
3 that
What's your
have that
perfect
explosion.
scenario for a tight end, for drafting a tight end? Is it day 2? No, not day 2. Is it third round or is it later?
You're really pushing me on this tight end shit.
I
Dude,
want to see, man. But you know why I am though, because it's the James Cook thing. I'm like, I'm not. I don't know if I'm comfortable taking a running back if it means I might have to give up a starting tight end.
Look, I did a mock draft today. I don't do many mock drafts.
Hmm.
And I think I found my perfect combination of players that I
Oh,
will
tell us
be.
your mock draft, man.
I can't.
Oh,
It's
it's for the
not probably not
video. It's for
released
the
yet.
video. Yeah, I got
because
you. I got you. I got you.
it's
I'll be
this
tuning in
may
for
be
that.
the mock draft that I put out like draft day, and like
Okay.
Bobby and I like the podcast that we put out the day of the draft is like our mock drafts, are like official final ones, and that's the only one that I put out every year. So, but I think I found a good pairing of guys. That, spoiler, it does involve not taking tight end until late day 3, and that guy was, Harold just say, it's Charlie Kohler.
How late
So
was that?
that was 5th round. That was
I'm,
one of the 5th
you know what,
round
I'm
picks.
fine with that, because even in my mock draft, that's where I had Jake Ferguson going, and I'm like you said earlier, you described the way that they're potentially going to be using Daniel Jones and the tight end's potentially going to be used, and I'm like, Jake Ferguson or a player similar to him in the 5th round would be the way to go, and that way we don't need to spend a top 100 pick. We could still get other players. We could still fulfill other needs. Defensive tackle, Justin. Let me hear
Oh,
it. Is
yeah.
it because it hasn't been talked about much, even though I've been saying it for a while. The Giants' defensive tackle room is not as good as it used to be.
It's
We
a
got
need.
we got
It's a
two
need
guys.
now.
We have Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams, and that's it. And today, Dexter Lawrence said he's not in his best shape right now, which I don't know why in the world you would say that's in the
Oh, he
media,
said
but he
that?
said it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I
So
love
yeah, no,
hearing
defensive
that.
tackle is a need that nobody's talking about, because I feel like some fans are
Travis-
they're still in the
Travis
mindset
Jones.
of Dave Gettleman always taking defensive tackles.
Hold the
I-
phone. Dexter Lawrence is probably. Does Dexter Lawrence want his 5th-year option picked up?
I know, bro. I don't know why he said that. Why would you say that? You know what's
Maybe
crazy,
he's trying to
Justin?
show off. Maybe
You
he's
know
gonna
what's
ball out this season and say, I wasn't
Listen.
even in my full shape.
You know what's crazy, Justin? People did not want to give him the 5th-year option. I was always on board for it because of the fact we have nobody else. But also, did you see what defensive tackles were signing
How
for
much
this
money did
offseason?
Johnson get? Didn't
Austin
he get,
Johnson
like,
got
8
$10 million a year.
Sebastian
around
Joseph
10 million a
Day to
year.
the same team.
Listen, and Austin Johnson is supremely underrated, but even I was like, wow, that is more than I
Austin
expected.
Johnson is not a $10 million player.
Neither is BJ Hill, and I love BJ Hill, and we should have kept him, but BJ Hill got the same
I
contract.
think BJ Hill deserves that money.
Maybe
BJ
maybe
Hill
he'll go and prove it.
Deserve
Maybe
that
he'll
money.
go
He
and prove it.
played freaking well. Dude,
Why
he has
the-
6.5 sacks.
You know what's funny? I'm not having this conversation if BJ Hill is still here. I'm like, oh yeah, we could forego defensive tackle, but
Yeah,
no, we
yeah.
cannot do that. So
No,
let's.
no.
Who do you have in
they,
mind?
They can. I mean, here.
Ah,
Defensive
it's gonna
tackle
be
and
so
interior
tough.
D line.
Isaiah Thomas.
Spoiler. I did take an interior defensive lineman in that mock
I'm happy
draft
about
I did
that.
today.
Don't spoil too
I'm
much,
happy
man.
about
Don't
that.
spoil too much now.
So, I love Travis Jones. Like, Travis Jones is a guy.
like
I think he's gonna go round 1. Can
I
be
was about to
honest?
say,
Yeah,
you know what's
a lot of
funny?
teams,
I
yeah.
keep revisiting
Green Bay
my
can get him.
single mock draft that I did. I almost took Travis Jones in the 3rd, but yeah, since then this man has skyrocketed, and I mean skyrocketed
With
up
good
boards.
reason. He's got good tape. He's got
Mhm.
good
Yeah.
tape, so.
There's a good amount of, the some interior defensive linemen, the particular like D tackles, run stuffing / nose tackles that I'm going to be talking about. There's also some good 3-4 like defensive ends in there, like
Leo.
Logan Hall. Logan Hall's one. I think the Giants actually brought him on a top 30 visit as well.
Yeah, they
he's
did.
from Houston. There's a fun breakdown on Talking Football if you want to go check it out. Logan Hall versus Dylan Parham that Bobby just did, and we put it out yesterday. So there is that. But neither here nor there. I do think I would hope that the Giants would go the route of kind of getting a little bit more of that nose tackle minded player. So I really love, we mentioned Travis Jones. I think Fedarian Mathis is a little bit
Yeah,
more realistic.
yeah.
I really like Neil Farrell Jr. from
I'm glad you
LSU.
brought him up because you know what?
Um,
Neil Farrell Jr. possibly in the 4th round, I feel like might be the way to go, man. Like that's who
yeah,
I've really been locked in on in terms of if we get a defensive tackle.
John Ridgway from Arkansas. He is
I
just
hear about him. I
a
heard about
ball
him.
of strength. I don't think he's gonna do anything fantastic, and I think I would put him below all the guys that we just talked about. But he's a
Any Haskell
wrestler.
Garrett on your list or no?
No, I didn't review all of the
I'm not.
interior guys, so
I like Haskell Garrett. He's like 5th round to me though.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't review all the interior guys, but those are just some of the guys that I have like on my radar who I would be down. So
So no, I'm glad that you did have them on your radar though, because well, we gotta take it. I wouldn't take it with a top 100, but like I was, I feel like 4th round might be the round that if the Giants are like, yeah, we gotta get DT, let's go there. Travis Jones though, I'm really sad that there's always players that you looked at early on in the
That you know you're
process.
not gonna get. Yeah.
mhm.
No, for me, I thought for some reason he was gonna stay in the 3rd to 4th round range, but he's,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Justin, I could see what you're seeing. I could actually see him going at the end of the 1st, but I think it's probably gonna be 2nd round type pick right now. Now,
He
is there
just
any?
killed it at the Senior Bowl. I don't want
Yeah,
to hear the Senior Bowl doesn't matter because Jermaine Johnson before the Senior Bowl was like an end of the
edge
1st
5.
round, top of the 2nd round guy.
Yeah, he was like edge 5.
I'm serious. When I was doing my Senior Bowl prep, I was like Jermaine Johnson at 36. Let's go. And then Senior Bowl combine happens. Jermaine Johnson at 7. What kind of world are we living? What world are we living in? So the Senior Bowl matters. Like that stuff. That Neil Farrell Jr. Nobody heard of Neil Farrell Jr. before the Senior Bowl, or at least
Same
not
thing.
like normal
Same
people.
thing with our favorite tackle, Trevor Penning. Senior Bowl put him higher on the map for better or
It
for
did.
worse.
It did.
So and the same.
Cole Strange
Yeah.
got my attention at the Senior Bowl. So
Wide
it
receiver
helps.
Christian
Now,
Watson also got a big boost from the Senior
yes,
Bowl.
Yeah.
yes.
I like Watson though, man. He's one of those guys that I like him.
That should not
Yeah.
go in the 1st, but probably is. I don't know. That's just me.
I like it. I like his potential. I'm probably not a 1st round guy for me, but a guy like if I needed a wide receiver in the 2nd, he's a guy. Definitely.
He's a tall. He may be
Those tall burners, man. Those
a
tall
target
burners.
at 36, man.
That
may.
was my next question. Are we taking a wide receiver and where? Like, what is your
As
view
far
on
as the
wide
top
receiver?
30 visits go, we haven't put much thought into as far as the Giants go. As far as top 30 visits, we don't have a lot of
No?
wide receivers on there.
Well, then
Not that I've seen. Let me go back. I'll go back.
Kadarius Toney stands.
While he brings that up though, Justin, so yeah, wide receiver, should we take one? Where are you looking at? Like, what's happening?
My ideal range is wherever Alec Pierce is going to go. I love Alec Pierce.
Top of the 2nd.
Cincinnati
Top
wide
of the
receiver, right?
second,
Top of the
Alec
2nd.
Pierce.
Wait.
Alec Pierce is
You're
going
talking about
that high
Cincinnati,
now,
right?
man.
Cincinnati,
Yeah,
right?
Cincinnati, dude. He's
Yeah.
going
Yeah,
up,
Alec
man.
Pierce, I'm looking at him in the 2nd, bro. I don't think he's dropping past I might be wrong.
Yeah. No,
But these
he's
Cincinnati,
getting a lot of hype
I'ma keep
because
it real
of
with
his
you.
explosive playability. He's tall. Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it real with you.
if
These
you-
Cincinnati players, I love all of the Cincinnati players, man.
Yeah. I love Kobe Bryant. I mean,
They've all
you
been
know what's
good.
crazy? So here's about something with Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce every day in practice went up against 2 NFL caliber cornerbacks for years. He
Mhm.
went up against Kobe Bryant and he went up against Sauce Gardner every single day in practice. That's what those guys, Alec Pierce, those Cincinnati wide receivers, that's what they did. And I think that matters. There's some stuff that people talk about with NFL draft stuff. Hey, it doesn't matter. You're trying to stretch it. No, I think that matters going up against that competition every single day.
If we could get him in the 3rd,
yeah.
I'll be happy. I'll be happy if they pick him in the 3rd.
Yeah. Again, you're asking me good questions.
Oh
It's like,
damn! You guys won't believe this.
Mm.
So the Giants have not even put one wide receiver on their
Okay.
top 30 visit. Traylon Burks was a combine meeting,
Mhm.
and the next one is Bo Melton from Rutgers, a local
Yes,
meeting. It
my
wasn't
guy.
it wasn't even a private meeting though, or a workout or anything. It was a local meeting.
So is that
Bo
potentially the
Melton,
position
6th
that we
round.
forego then that we were talking about? There's gonna be something we don't address.
Yeah, a
I
wide
don't-
receiver, maybe that. Well, the top 30 thing doesn't necessarily dictate where they're gonna go.
Yeah.
There's just all the
Mhm.
players they really want to see get a better look at. But I wouldn't rule out them possibly going receiver
No.
2nd or 3rd. I wouldn't rule it out if they really enjoy one. Like I don't know. It all depends on what they really like, what Brian Daboll likes. 'Cause we have a mix of those wide receivers. We have the 50-50 ball guy. We have the
The
slot route
burner.
runners. We have the burners, right?
We have the
we've
yard
got
after the
everything
catch
on this
guy.
team. Yeah,
I
we
mean,
have a lot of
all right,
these
here's
things.
the thing: you have him, but for how long? I mean,
Exactly,
if you
And
exactly.
put
injuries.
together if you put together the games that Galladay,
Right.
Shepard, and Tony played last year, what do you get? Like 20 games, 25 games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean that's tough. So you're saying to yourself, even a position that's isn't supposed to be a need, it still kind of is a need. I am really down on Slayton, man. I'm kind of done. Like,
Hmm.
what do you do well? And I get it. It was Garrett, and I was hoping that Kenny Galladay would be the thing that would help separate Darius Slayton, and you saw it a little bit, especially against Washington. He was kind of did well. I know he dropped a touchdown pass. Could have been 2 touchdown passes that game.
Hmm.
But I'm kind of just done, man. Like, what do you do well? I mean, he's one of the worst in the NFL at separation, and he's also one of the worst in the NFL at yards after the catch per reception. I mean, that's kind of a bad combo.
Hmm.
It's basically just Darius Slayton catch ball, go down. And he doesn't even catch the ball all that often because
It's a
he's not
shame because
open.
he runs a 4.340, man. This dude's
Yeah,
a burner,
and
you know?
and that just tells you that he's I feel bad because he had a really good 2019, so maybe it is a lot of scheme, but him and Evan Ingram run straight lines very fast, but they don't do anything else very well. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it
So
all depends on what the Giants really want, whether that's like the taller type of outside guy like George Pickens, or they want a
yeah,
smaller guy like Sky Moore. It all depends on what they want.
I also love Khalil Shakir. My
Oh, Boise
ideal,
State Broncos, baby.
yeah.
I'm a Boise State guy.
Like Christian Watson and Alec Pierce are the 2 guys that I would be most down to add.
Mhm.
And if they do it around 2, like I'll get behind it, but then like, hey, giddy up. Like let's get
yeah,
these
it's
edge
like, yo,
Yeah,
we
rushers.
we
gotta
have
get
to we
these other
have to really
positions
hit those
fulfilled.
next picks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
but
have to really hit those next picks.
that's why this draft is so deep that I'm okay with taking BPA because there are so many needs on the team, and the draft is relatively deep. But those 2 guys in particular, and there's other guys that fit this mold too. Those are just the first 2 guys that come to mind.
Mhm.
I'm basically looking for a better version and more reliable version of Darius Slayton in 2019. A number 2 wide receiver that can take the top off, who has that speed, but can also be an option in the intermediate part of the field. Because Tony has that slot, right? He's that guy that has the yards after the catch, and he's gonna, not be a
So
gadget
you're talking
player,
like
but
a
he
number
can
2
do.
outside guy, right?
Yes,
How you feel
Just
about
hear
like
me
a
out.
John Mechie or
Hear
something?
me out.
I think Mechie is more of a slot guy, but I'm
Slot
gonna hear
guy?
Hub guy. Yeah, I'm
Hear,
gonna
hear,
hear Hub out. Hub
hear
out.
me
Yeah.
out. Hear me out. All
Oh
right.
god,
Just
he's
let
about to get
me.
real crazy. I can
Mhm.
see in the smile. He's about to get real
Yeah,
crazy.
I know you need your headphones to hear me, but like take off the one off your ear and show it to the camera for showmanship, right? Right. Okay. Well, the one that's already kind of half off. Yeah. Yeah. Now point it towards the camera. Turn your head. Yeah. Okay. Bring back John Ross.
Bring back John Ross. That's it.
Oh wait, is your mic off? What happened?
You're
Oh, we
muted.
can't hear you. You're muted or something.
You're muted. Well, yeah, bring back John Ross.
You're muted, sir.
He knows. He knows.
Okay.
I thought you were about to say James Cook for wide receiver too.
That
No, I
would
did. I
feed
did
into
have
your
some people tell
addiction.
me. I did have some people tell me Saquon Barkley for wide receiver too.
Oh
Hey,
god.
he was running more routes today. I remember when I was at Massachusetts camp last year with Snacks, which I love that by the way. I love training camp. I cannot wait for training camp. If they don't let us in,
I
I
was
will
about to
start.
say they didn't let people last time, right? Last year.
Yeah,
Well, no,
no, stink.
that's why I had to
Yeah, no,
travel to
stink.
Massachusetts.
Oh wow.
Like they remember they had the joint practices with the
Mhm.
Patriots.
Oh
So
yeah.
Snacks and I are like, I told Snacks, I'm like, we're freaking going. Like you have no choice in this. We're going. Take days off of work. So I remember Saquon was still working his way back from the torn ACL. He catches an angle route. Like those Texas wheel routes in
Mhm.
Madden that are unbeatable.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're also unbeatable in the NFL too. He ran one during like pseudo team. Yes, it was his first day of team drills, the last day of the Patriots practice. He ran one, went for a touchdown, lost my mind. clipped it, put it out, said it to everybody. Saquon Barkley did this, and now we're like,
He's
the
back.
Giants are back.
He's
The
back.
Giants are back.
Let's go.
The angle route, man. The angle route.
And how many times did they do it during the regular season? Probably
Never.
0.
Oh,
Never.
Jason Garrett is also a war criminal, man. Can't let that man.
Listen,
That man is
listen,
in the USFL.
listen. Jason Garrett, there was too much angles going on with that route, okay? Jason Garrett,
It
like
was too
straight line
complicated.
and stop and look for the ball, okay? That's.
It was too complicated for Garrett.
Did
And
you
listen,
guys
I
see?
don't.
By the way, did you guys
Yeah.
see Jason Garrett calling that game, that USFL game? I put a video
I
on
was,
Twitter that
I
people
was about
saw.
to say, I'm like, I don't want to
Dude,
disrespect
he
the
looked
USFL.
like a freaking possessed puppet, dude. It was bad.
That's what
Oh,
I'm saying. I'm
God.
like, I don't want to disrespect the USFL because I like what they're trying to do, and I'm a fan.
He
I'm
didn't do
actually
a
gonna
bad
be
job.
I'm gonna be calling some USFL games for the New Jersey Generals. I missed the first week, but I'm gonna get on it in the second week and going
You
forward
are?
and whatnot.
You're like hired by NBC?
What? No, okay. I mean calling them live, bro, on YouTube.
You're like hired.
Oh, like
fired?
on your YouTube channel? Oh,
Yes.
I was like, yo, did like the USFL like give you a call?
Bro, if you know what, maybe I should
would
give
love
them
to
a call.
a game, man.
You
I
know
would love to
what?
call a game.
You just put that in. I'm gonna send them an email and be like, "Here's why you
I'm
should
telling
hire
right
me."
now. Like, so listen
These
to
smaller
this.
leagues, yeah, you can get in.
What I do also in my spare time is I call high school games.
Mhm.
I'm like I'm the color
I'm
commentator.
about to start calling flag football games.
Hey.
in my,
Yes,
league,
yes,
yeah.
it is
Mhm.
so fun,
It's
man. I
fun,
do it
it's
for
fun.
St. Peter's Prep in Jersey City, and they got a pretty good team. And I do it with my buddy who graduated with me. He went to St. John's for broadcasting, and then he's been asking me to do it, and it's so fun. I really recommend. Like, I think we
Oh,
can do
yeah.
it. And now
Mhm.
it is harder than it looks, and now me, I'm a little bit of a natural, but I think us who we watch so much football, and also
Man.
we talk about it. We don't just watch it. We
In
talk
front
about
of
it so
people.
much
In front of people, yeah.
in front of people who also criticize you when you get your shit wrong.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the thing where it's like, I think we can do that broadcasting kind of like in the moment because, we all live stream. And so
Yeah.
I definitely try it. Do it.
I'm gonna send them an email, and I actually do mean that. But getting back to the USFL comment, I don't want to insult them, but it is a fall from grace. Jason Garrett, once head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, he's now working in the
booth,
USFL,
in the
man.
booth. I will say, he did a pretty damn good job calling the game as a color commentator. He did a pretty good
He
job.
did.
I think so. I think he did all right.
I'm really upset that they didn't have him going at the same time as the Generals, because the Generals game and the Stallions
got
game was
delayed.
really, really good. Like, that was a good game. And I think the second game, the game that Garrett called, was horrible. And I also think it was a NASCAR race that was on, and it was well, I like NASCAR, and the Nets playoff game that was on at the same
Okay,
time.
yeah.
So I would have
Yeah.
loved to see.
Oh, I
them
was
do
just
it.
before
didn't
we
bore me
came
to
on, I was
death.
watching Celtics Nets.
Yeah, he
But,
didn't bore me to death. So
there were some Patreon members that were like, we have a group chat with them on Twitter, and there was one of them that was telling us like how he was talking about how the goal of every play it isn't always to get like a first down, and you don't need to get as many yards as possible.
I
And,
didn't hear that.
on third down. This is something specifically that he did say.
Right.
On third down, I agree with not throwing it past the 6 there. You don't always need to do that, and it's like,
Yeah, we
you're
don't.
calling the game like you called their offense. Bud.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I really thought we
I'm
should have ran a
sorry.
curl route here.
I'm
I
sorry.
really
That's
thought
got to
we-
be one of the
Yeah.
most stupidest things. The goal of every down is not to get a first down. What?
Dude,
Did I miss
the
a
most
page on how to play
boggling-
football?
The most mind-boggling quote, and I didn't really quote Joe Press. I didn't really quote Joe Judge pressers that often, and I didn't clip them that often. But the one time that I did from the regular season, it's when Joe Judge said, the goal of every drive doesn't necessarily have to be to score. Like, the goal of offense doesn't have to be like score as many points as possible. When he said that, like, you put too much pressure on yourself to score as many points as possible. Like,
You're
that's
content
what I'm like.
with going
kinda
with fourth down. You're content with that. That's just you can tell he was content with it. 4th down and 2, and screw it. We're sending the punt team out.
Yeah, that's
from
when I knew.
the
I'm like,
40.
this is kind of done. If you're coming out and you're saying that. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Anyway.
it wasn't done when
We're
we
done.
ran the QB sneak. I was there live. I wasted my money.
2 of them. I think people forget that they ran 2 in a row. The national media knows the QB sneak on 3rd down, but they forgot about the 2nd down and 10.
wait,
QB
it was
sneak.
2 in a row that
It
game?
was 2
Yeah, it
in
was
a
2 in a row.
row.
You
I was
forgot?
front.
Okay.
I was there.
Yeah, it was 2
we
in
were
a
there
row.
in that game. It was 2 QB sneaks in a row.
One on second down and one
we
on third
gained
down.
2 yards on the first one, and we gained 2 yards on the second one.
That was the game that I least paid attention to in my life because number one, I was in different seats. I was sitting in my buddy's seats and we were like by like the 50-yard line down in the 100 section. So I'm just like, hey, I'm here. Um, and I knew that we weren't going to have a podcast after that game because everybody was getting fired. So, so, so I was just like, just bullshit BS in the entire game. So I forgot the second down sneak. That's a fun fact. That'll be like a
Yeah.
really good, here. Jeopardy fact for you, Hub. That'll be a really good Jeopardy section one day. How many QB sneaks did the Giants run week 18 of the 2021 season? And people
Alex,
be like,
what is
one.
2?
Two in a row.
But yeah, no, we're heading up in about 2 hours there, and I'm glad we actually have about 70 people right now sticking with us all the way through, guys. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Make sure you hit the like button before you go out. Justin, in regards to the draft, was there any topic or player that you wanted to talk about that you didn't get a chance to talk about?
I'm seeing people talk about Leo Chanel.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even looked at him yet. Yeah, I have to look at him.
recommend.
I'm a fan of Leo Chanel. I'm still, I guess, in a minority that prefers Chad Bouma over Leo Chanel.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it because Chanel's smaller, right? Is he smaller?
No, Chanel's a
Bouma?
tank.
Oh yeah.
Chanel
Let
is
me
a
pull up their
tank.
measurements.
Yeah,
I think
pull up their
Chanel's the strongest linebacker in the class. I do.
Okay, I have to. Yeah, I haven't done any
and
work on.
now this
Chanel.
is
Talking
where
football. Hey, I hate the self plugs, but talking
Go
football.
ahead, yeah.
Bobby, and I edit all of Bobby's film breakdowns. But we did a Leo Chanel film breakdown on talking football.
and
so
that's
if you
not to
wanna
say
check
because
that
every
out.
time I say I prefer one player over the other, some fans take it out of context and be like, "Oh, I hate that player." No, definitely not. I like Leo Chanel. I do.
You just like him better. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like Chad, and this is where you're probably gonna get on me. I like Chad Muma better as in terms of better value as well. Because Chanel for me,
Yes.
I feel like would be a reach at 36, but I don't know if he's gonna be there at 67. Whereas
Okay.
Chad Muma, I think, is definitely gonna be there at 67, and he's 100% gonna be worth the pick at 67,
Yeah.
rather than reaching at Chanel at 36. If that makes any sense.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense a lot. Yeah.
I'd be kind of happy with Chanel at 36, man. I think he can fit. I think he's going to be a Mike linebacker, good linebacker for a long time.
Do you have him? And I haven't looked at this guy, so I'll put that out there. But do you have him over Christian Harris? That's the guy I haven't looked at.
I like Harris. Harris is raw, but I like Harris. I like
Do
Harris
I
a
have
lot.
him over Christian Harris? Let me check my notes because this is a great question. Yes,
Okay.
I do. So my scale is the Cold Stone Creamery scale.
I haven't been to Cold
gotta
Stone
have
in
it.
like 8 years. But yeah.
So that's how I evaluate. I don't give him a grade. I don't give him a round. I don't give him a round grade. A guy could be a 5th round pick, and I can have him as a gotta have it player.
Got it.
Leo
yeah.
Chanel is a gotta have it player. And what grade did I give Christian Harris? Christian Harris he's a like it player.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't mean that he's going to be bad. I think Christian Harris is going to be good, but I just think Leo Chanel is a much better fit for Wink. Watch Leo Chanel, and this is in the film.
I will. I got homework.
But watch Leo Chanel against Tyler Linderbaum. When he is blitzing up the A gap, he blows him up. Blows him up, and he dominates him. And it is so fun to see how strong he is and how, he could be used as that blitzer. He's an instinctual player too, doesn't just rely on his athleticism. I feel like there's a lot of linebackers in this class that can fly sideline to sideline. Like they play like madmen. They play all over the field. But are they playing with instincts, and are they just flying sideline to sideline? Can they do some other things well and play with those instincts? And I think Leo Chanel has that strength. Plays like a madman, but also plays under control and has really, really great instincts on where the flow of the play is going. So check him out. Let me know what you think.
I have I know we're going way past our mark here, but I got another thing to quickly talk about.
What's
and
up?
Because I can't believe we haven't even talked about it yet in the second round. The possibility of Linderbaum slipping to the second round.
Oh yeah, we mentioned Kenyon Green. I could definitely see Linderbaum slipping.
What do you guys think if Linderbaum were to fall? I know John Feliciano is our center. I would still take a Linderbaum. If he was there, would you guys take a Linderbaum?
So the way that Justin and Bobby feels about if Kenyon Green slips there is how I would feel about Linderbaum. And not because I necessarily feel Linderbaum's a better player, just because I feel like there is a drop-off from him to the next center. And I would definitely prefer having him at center than John Feliciano, but that's me.
And then Feliciano can just kick back to where he was at.
It's a guard.
So, yeah.
The gap between Linderbaum and Cole Strange is actually closer than you would think for me.
Yeah, but
He's just
I
a
look
strange
at
guy.
Cole Strange as a guard. He's a tweener for you, is what is kind of the way you described him, kind of like a tweener for you.
Yeah,
If
I
I'm
could
looking
see
at
him being a center.
if I'm looking at strictly centers though, it is literally Linderbaum and then Lindstrom as guys that are
Lindstrom.
strictly centers, and it's a very big gap.
My thing with Linderbaum, and this is also just the thing that I would centers too. I want centers that have play strength. I want
Mhm.
centers that can be
That has
real
been
anchors.
a legit, like a valid criticism of Linderbaum. Yeah,
Yeah.
the strength. Yeah.
If we were running more outside zone, if we were like the 49ers, if we were the Cleveland Browns and we had like a Stefanski or like a Shanahan that call those kind of plays, Daboll does like to dabble into the outside zone scheme a little bit, but I don't think it's like fully on committal to it. So if I'm one of those two teams, I'm targeting Tyler Linderbaum. I don't know. Browns probably don't have first round picks, second round picks for the next 10 years. But you know, but if I'm one of those teams, or even the Vikings, I don't know what system they're going to be running now, but the Vikings of, when they had Zimmer as head coach, they would run that outside zone scheme with Dalvin Cook and stuff like that. So I think he would fit very well in that kind of offense because he should be used in space. Like Tyler Linderbaum is so good of an athlete that he should be used in space like that. But if he's going to be in a power scheme or just kind of like in between the tackles, then you're asking him to use more of his play strength, and he's no longer that like elite prospect top tier guy. He's probably just a good prospect that needs to develop more play strength. So that's where I am with Linderbaum. It's all dependent on like how he's used and how the scheme is.
I don't really think he's gonna drop to 36. I feel like because Jacksonville's got that number 1 pick in the second round too. I don't see how he gets past Jacksonville with the second round pick.
Yeah.
Because they need a center, and that's probably the biggest position on their offensive line that they need. And obviously they got the Trevor Lawrence over there. So I have a hard time thinking that Linderbaum will go past him. But if he does, man, and he lands and he's like there when the Giants pick, man, I have a hard time looking past him as well, man. There's going to be a lot of options at 36. I mean, I wish we had another second round pick because the bulk of this draft is in the second round. It really is. The bulk of the talent.
I think I said it on here, and I'm saying it over and over again. I'm nervous about 5 and 7. I am so excited about 36.
Yeah.
I am so
you really
so
can't mess up
excited
36.
about 36. Yeah,
I don't think
it's
you
gonna
can.
be tough to mess it up.
Mm-hmm. And I will close it out here, guys, now because it is now getting late. I have to get to sleep, but also we covered quite a lot, man, here at the 2-hour, 5-minute mark. First and foremost, of course, as usual, shout out to the chat, the viewers, the supporters, the subscribers, everybody in here.
You guys killed it today. Thank you guys.
Man, I know we didn't like get to address a lot of your questions or comments, but trust me, I was reading them, and usually they were lining up with the topic we were talking about, so I appreciate that. Shout out to all y'all. Make sure, once again, you hit the like button before you head out. Hit the subscribe button if you have not already. In the description is the link to Justin, his Twitter page, because, well, let's get this man's Twitter followers up. And then KB, well, we already know his links as well as down there. But then, of course, shout out to KB, my co-host, and Justin for being a very great guest. Any last thoughts before we close it out, guys?
I love you guys. I can talk all night with you. We have talked all night a couple times, which is always fun. So I may be back soon. Let's just say that.
Yeah. He definitely may be back soon. KB, I actually have an announcement to make and something to ask you. The channel already knows about this announcement, which is that I will be having a Jeopardy quiz this Sunday instead of my usual mock draft, and I'm looking for contestants. It's gonna be either 8 or 8:30. It's gonna be in that time frame.
I should make. Oh, hell yeah!
Right. So KB is the first official guy to be on there, but it was already a foregone conclusion. You guys probably knew he was going to be on there. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Should we get the questions in advance?
No.
Can
No,
we
sir.
get the questions in advance?
No.
Fair question.
Definitely not doing that. Definitely not doing that, sir. It's
What's
actually going to be
like what kind of questions are going to be asked?
So here's the thing. It's actually going to be teams, and so that's why I'm gonna have to see if I get enough people for it.
I'm gonna kill it.
If I'm on KB's team, I lose.
What? You're gonna win. You're gonna win. A winner's circle only, my friend.
It would be 2 games. So one game would be, like Team A versus Team B, and then the second game would be Team C versus Team D. So ideally, if I get enough people, it will be like 8 people. There's 2 people per each team, and one of them will be NFL draft themed. and the other one will be just strictly Giants themed. Then once I get the contestants, I'll see how I'll divide it up to see who better suits
what
what.
I don't like
basically.
about two people teams is that there's always a distinction who's the weaker link, weakest link, and who's not. I feel like I'm gonna be the weakest link on whatever team I'm gonna
I
be
agree
on.
with that.
Yeah, yeah.
agree with
I'm gonna
that.
be like, damn. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm a host of
Sorry.
a Giants history podcast too. So.
Yes.
I know that.
Bleed.
Yeah.
I mean, the Big Blue VCR, right?
No, that's a Twitter
Bleeding,
page.
That's the
Bleeding
Twitter
Big
page.
Blue, right?
Bleeding Big Blue. Yeah,
Bleeding
Big Blue.
is another podcast.
Bleeding Blue.
Bleeding Blue.
Yo,
There's
how
so
many
much of
are
this-
there? How many history Giants-based
We
podcasts
all
are there?
bleed.
No,
Blue here.
Bleeding Big Blue is another just Giants podcast. Big Blue VCR is just a Giants history page. Snacks and I do the Bleeding Blue.
Okay.
I hate the Bleeding Blue. It's just Bleeding Blue.
So I don't
It's
know,
just
man.
Bleeding Blue.
I don't know. We'll see what team you end up on, Mr. Penik.
Are we gonna do a raffle? Like I'm
Huh?
not a raffle. Like we're drawing out of how whose team is on whose.
No,
or
I'll let you guys know
assigning?
beforehand, bro. I'm gonna try and be as organized as possible with this, so that as soon as we
Okay.
start the stream, we're like,
Can you
do a
give me a
little
fighting
intro and we'll
chance?
get into it.
Can you give me a fighting chance?
I was
I'll tell
going
you
to,
what,
but you're
I'll tell you
asking for
what,
too
I'm
much
good-
now.
I'm telling you, I'm good with trivia, but when it comes to when the spotlight is on, man, I choke under pressure, man. I'm telling you.
choke. Yeah, big time.
Kid Choker, 27, man.
Yeah.
That's what they called. That's what they called you in high school.
Yeah.
We don't
Kid
talk
Choker over
about that, Justin. I
27.
told you that one time, and you weren't supposed to talk about that.
But yeah, guys, that will be it. Definitely something to look forward to this Sunday. And that's it for now, man.